Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a very special Frightful Fight Club edition of Monster Party.
Monster
Party!
Monster Party! It's fun. It's exciting. We're out in the play yard. Actually, we're not in the play yard, are we?
Well, we're in a virtual play yard. The only play yard we have left anymore.
Ever
play or watch porn. There's really only so many choices these days.
And speaking of porn, who are you, sir?
No, that may be the nicest thing you've ever said about me. I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James GONIS.
And for this episode, man, we got a great topic.
Yeah.
It's one of our greatest topics.
Yes.
It's a topic you know and love.
Very popular with the kids.
That's for sure. And we have done this, 4 times before?
Yes, we have.
And we thought, hell, let's do it again.
Yeah.
We haven't done it in a while.
We haven't done it in a while. It's been over a year, right?
Yeah.
Let's do the COVID-19 version.
The COVID-19 edition. And the topic is...
What is this amazing topic?
Who would win Volume 5?
Dun, dun.
Who would win Volume 5?
A new beginning.
All right.
Yep, we're going down that road again.
It's funny you should say this, Matt, because, each time we've done this, we've always had a great guest who would bring something to us.
Yes.
With really, Bobby Slayton, that last one was like really bizarre. Some of the different
yeah, which was funny because you thought that you would think that Bobby Slayton would be ready to go with conflict.
Yeah.
I thought initially he might have been just a tad intimidated, but he got into it.
But he rolled with it.
Yeah.
But I think
this time
we don't have an intimidated guest, do we?
Oh no. In fact, our guest, when I told him about this topic, this guy immediately hit to the reference books, started doing his matchups, and I think he might have maybe 270 different matchups ready to go. So this could be the first 3-day show.
Bring it.
And this guy is an old and dear friend of mine and a truly incredible artist and writer. And he's brought us stuff like The Black Terror, Nocturnals, Batman THRILLKILLER, Superman and Batman Legends of the World's Finest, JLA 7 Caskets. He does this incredible painted work. He's done covers for the bands Toto, Fireball Ministry, Ghoul Town, and Rob Zombie.
No.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my dear friend, Dan BRERETON.
Dan BRERETON! Welcome to Monster Party, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm so thrilled to be on with you guys. I'm serious. This is I've been looking forward to this all week.
I've been thinking about you coming on this show forever. And I know there's a little bit of distance between us. And normally before this nonsense happened, we try to get people to come over to the place. Just it's fun.
Yeah.
We all have toys and we can have some cocktails and it's, it's a good time.
Toys in your house? That's interesting. I
Imagine.
like that.
Well, both of us are kindred spirits. You're another collector. I can see you're a little bit of your collection in the background here. It seems like you like a lot of the things we like. A lot of Japanese monsters.
Dan, you like toys like us?
It's funny. Matt was, I think, the first guy whose house I went to because he had disposable income and, he wasn't a student.
Oh, the days.
And and he had all this stuff in his apartment. He had painted Universal Monsters. Revell? Who made those kits?
Oh, the Aurora kits.
They were all painted. Probably did them, years ago. But
no, my dad painted
cool
them.
stuff. And your dad painted them.
Yeah.
That's even so. I remember when I had like $50 to spend, and I was doing comic books freelance, and I was living in an apartment, and my expenses were kind of small at the time. And I remember going to Toys R Us with a friend and seeing this huge box that said Dino Riders on it, and a beautiful painting by think Ezra Tucker or Ezra Tucker. I want to.
Oh, you are
Who was a
good.
great illustrator, and it was like this Tyrannosaurus Rex,
Yes.
stuff on it, aliens and humans and dinosaurs with all this armor and ray
Yes,
guns.
aliens and humans. They battled each other on the
Big
dinosaurs.
T-Rex, and the T-Rex walked,
Yep.
and you put all the stuff on him, and it was like, how much is this thing? $50. I'm like, I can afford this.
I
Brought it
know.
home.
Isn't that, that was my
beginning
moment
of the end.
too. You're growing up and you kind of want to be cool during those years. And there was a little bit of a time where it's like, you got to put the toys away. But then I got to this place where I go into a comic book store and I see some really nice Iron Man figure and I go, that's awesome. I still like it right now. Hey,
Yeah.
I got nothing to prove to anybody anymore.
Right.
I'm going to buy this. And
It's
then
like-
it opened a floodgate.
Yeah, when you realize that moment, you can embrace your inner nerd. It's
Yeah.
like, go
Right.
for it.
I remember going crazy. They've heard this story before, but like going crazy for the sectors. Remember those?
Yeah.
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 Sector. Yeah.
And then I'm telling you, like from that point on, I went crazy, and I'm
what-
still crazy.
And then I noticed other freelancers, Derek and other freelancers were starting to have, stuff in their houses and their apartments and studios. And, nobody had a house yet. Everyone had
Remember
an apartment.
John Estes? Remember his
Yeah.
place where he had that. It was like a ledge around the entire living room, and all along the ledge that circled the living room, there were figures. And
Yeah.
Wow.
No.
one after another.
That's cool.
I had an apartment up in the Sierras when I moved back to Truckee, where I went to high school. And I moved to Truckee with my oldest son, who was the youngest child in the family. And it was after a split, divorce. And there was this long, the wall on one side of the living room stopped because it was kind of this vaulted ceiling, and then it just stopped. And it was like this big shelf, and there were these kind of areas of shelf in the kitchen, and I just perfect. So all my big toys, all my Shogun Warriors and bigger stuff went up there and collected dust for years. But it just was, you know what it was? It's like the thing that really kind of clicked with me early on was being at home, working at home as a freelancer, and spending all your time in one place every day for hours and hours and hours. And when you're doing freelance comics, you're working 60-80-hour weeks.
Yeah.
Make the deadlines and everything. And it just felt like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Because you had all the things that you like are surrounding you, and it made you feel like you wanted to be in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
When I'm in my studio, if you could see it, maybe I can just show you real quick. You can get a shot.
Here we go. Yeah, sure.
This is-
Oh,
this is the
yeah.
studio.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
All right.
Kindred spirit.
yeah, really.
Yeah, that's us.
There.
Oh, look at
Nice.
the Shogun Warrior.
Shogun
The fact,
Warriors,
the fact you have a Mecha Kong on the shelf behind you right away.
Yeah,
I knew this guy's
Kong. Yeah, I have.
That's
there's stuff way back there you can't see.
Orochi, the eight-headed dragon.
Yeah, from
Wow.
Yamato Takeru.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that movie.
about that on our last episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I got heavily into. I got heavily, and that's just in the studio. I mean, I live with a woman now, so.
Hey,
Congratulations.
Look, we all know. We all get it. We all get it.
Glad it all had a happy ending.
Amazing. We all
I
do.
didn't do all this, stuff. So there's a lot of this in storage. There's a lot of this in boxes.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. We know it well.
I do.
Yep.
I do get one corner in the bedroom that I have like Transformers and Kaiju and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I got to the point where action figures that are about this big or so, they were starting to be like dominoes waiting to be knocked over on the shelf. And anytime someone came over for the first time, and they would come over and knock a bunch of crap over. And I started. So around that time, I watched one of the first Heisei Godzilla versus Biollante. I watched that in 1990. I want to say 95, 96. And I was a single parent at the time, divorced, with my son Hunter, who was 2 years old. And so we start watching these Godzilla movies. And at the time, you had to get fan subs.
That's right.
Or
Yep.
or buy them on Laserdisc and just kind of watch them without any, subtitles or anything. And we totally get into Godzilla together. We totally get into all the different monsters. And he's 2. He can't even say Godzilla. He says Yaya. It's about as close as he can get.
That's what I call
That's
it.
right. So I start collecting these vinyls and the remote controls. Like they had a remote control Godzilla. I had two of them. 54 and the 89 version, Biollante version, with the 6-channel.
Yeah, incredible.
And, the whole thing. I built up to that, though. And when I had both of those, it really wasn't anywhere to go after that. And I started to come a little bit. But I remember.
That's what you think.
Well, no, I mean, for me, I reached this kind of, that was my pinnacle. And
that's good, though.
I still collect them. I still buy them, but I just don't have fervor, because there's no room for them.
Yeah, believe me, we all get it. I mean, it's always a battle against space, and also my wife is incredibly understanding, and so I have lots of display areas all over our house.
It requires deep reservoirs of female patience,
but she also likes the stuff too.
Yeah, well, that's good.
That helps.
Yeah. She doesn't despise the stuff. She doesn't belittle me. Nothing like that. It's just not into it. That's totally, But so I try and give her, because it'd be easy for my personality to take over the entire house. And so I scale back as possible. So we worked it out. So downstairs looks like a more normal adult house. And you go upstairs and it gets a little crazy.
Yeah.
So
crazy or fun?
If I had
fun, whatever, it's all good.
If I had my way, our house would be Tracy Island.
True.
Like
or Monster Island.
Yeah. If I really had the choice, I would be in Adventures Tower or something.
Yeah.
But
speaking of Monster Island, though, what do you say we kind of get?
Yeah, I was just about to go there, Larry. I was just about to do that.
I'm sorry.
This is who would win, and so far it's a stalemate with us. But what about characters? What about possible matchups between fictional characters? Dan, what we normally do is the guest gets the first shot, and especially since you have over 750 choices.
And so imagine, Dan, it's like these two characters, they come into a room, two characters enter and one character leaves.
Yeah, it's like whatever reason
would win.
It could be from different universes, but
it could be from anything you want.
For our purposes, though, it's like these two characters together who in a physical fight is going to win.
So when Matt first told me the topic, I'm going to read the first one that came to mind. And then 6 or 7 more came to mind. And then I asked Matt a couple questions. And he sent me the list of the last 4. And I was really happy to see that none of the ones I'd come up with had been used, although there were a couple of characters that had been used.
Right. Okay.
And I started to get into a rhythm of there was almost like a puzzle box aspect to it where I'd come up with one character and then I would kind of flip the Rubik's Cube until it made sense to put him against this character. And not Charlton Heston from the Omega Man against Charlton Heston from Soylent Green. Nothing like that. And then I noticed that there were some that were a little more obvious than others, and some were a little deeper, deep cut than others. So I tried to come up with stuff that got me excited when I heard the names. And go ooh. And also
Nova versus Barbarella.
What's that?
I said Nova versus Barbarella.
Hot oil.
You said excited, so.
Right. A Cherry 2000 versus Red Sonja, Bridget Nielsen.
All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I like that.
Okay. So the first one is kind of, I don't know how obvious you think it's going to be, but I thought it would be kind of fun if we could see Maximilian from the Black Hole versus Hector from Saturn 3.
That's good.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. That's interesting.
Like
That's a good one. That's good.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Maximilian does float, or he flies to a point, right?
Yeah, he floats.
Yeah, he floats. He levitates. He hovers.
Yeah, which what's his face doesn't.
No, Hector is a big lumbering, half-built brain tissue using monster.
But he does have brute strength
and partly a human brain too.
Yeah, and he likes the ladies.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has Harvey Keitel's face too.
At the end, right.
Right.
With that weird overdubbed voice that isn't his.
That's really right. It's Roy Dotrice.
No, Harvey was out by that point. He was like, oh,
Yeah.
no.
So the next, he was making Bad Lieutenant by that point.
Dan, that's a very good one.
That is a good one.
Go ahead.
I think I know the answer, but Larry,
Yeah, me too.
what do you think?
Okay, because you guys know your robots. My feeling is, even though Maximilian, he does have those spinning things on his arm and he can float, but I do think, because Hector does have the little brain thing inside, I think he can be more use ingenuity, or like maybe Kirk-esque mind messes. He has the brute strength. He has the size. He has the strength. I do think that as creative as Maximilian would try to be, I think once Hector got him, he could, because it's a robot. I mean, you could rip him apart. So my feeling right now, Dan, is I'm in the Hector side. I think Hector would win.
Interesting.
I disagree. I disagree, because to me, Maximilian, wasn't he partly made to be the protector for Reinhardt or whatever? Like he was like his bodyguard, right?
Yes, he was.
And he has those spinning.
So he just has to be tougher than Reinhardt.
But
it spins.
Those spinning like blades.
And why not just sharpen a stick?
But look at Maximilian's structure. He's very solid. Hector is all like exposed wires.
I'm with you.
He's done.
Sean, you look at Maximilian. He's like a floating battering ram.
Yeah,
with blades.
He is solid. Yeah,
and there's too much exposed area with Hector.
Now, granted, Hector was not finished. He was never completed really in the movie. So who knows what his ultimate abilities were. But to me, Maximilian, hands down.
But the brain thing is an interesting element to this, because who knows what ingenuity he could bring to that fight. But it's a hard one to extrapolate.
Hands down, really.
No. I'm not saying. I'm saying that's the little caveat there. The brain part. I still think that Maximilian would win. I just think after being pummeled 150 times with that bullet-like body, he's armored too. So there's that.
Yeah. Well, I want to know what James GONIS thinks.
No,
James GONIS, what bullshit do you have to offer to this?
Honestly, I saw both of those movies in first run theatrically, but not since then. So it's
you were missing out.
I remember Hector as being a little bit more overtly malicious, and Maximilian not as much so. He's, like you said, more of a protector. So I was going to give it to Hector, but yeah, I mean, the fact that Hector is unfinished, it probably would go to Maximilian, but it's a contest.
I'd love to see that fight, though.
Yeah.
Dan, what do you think?
Yeah,
I feel like Hector is not as sturdy.
I agree.
Like, because he's kind of a work in progress, and he's not, he's made of metal, but I don't think he's as armored as Max. And does Maximilian do more than just have the spinning blades? Does he fire lasers or anything like that?
So. I think he shot some kind of blaster or something.
He's got some sort of energy.
And he might have all his other weapons you don't even know about too. Who knows what else,
Yeah.
He's got.
You have like a can opener.
Yeah.
What if we took the Reinhardt Maximilian in Hell version and put it up against Hector?
No, he would still lose, because now he's got the tortured soul.
Now he's on fire.
Well,
but no, I see what you mean. Though you have Reinhardt's mind and kind of essence now running the robot. I mean, if Reinhardt and Maximilian truly merged in Hell, that could be even more formidable, because now he's got smarts and cunning.
Well, have you seen that diamond toy that has the alternate head?
It's behind us on the shelf. Yeah,
I really do want that. I don't want the other two.
Oh, okay. They're great. They're great.
I hate those other robots, but I do like
Vincent. They have
you don't like
background too in the figure.
You don't like the little gunfighter?
God!
Are you talking about old Bob?
Oh yeah, Captain Star.
Captain Star.
Yeah, I would like some of the other robots, but I don't like Vincent or Bob whatsoever.
They don't like you either.
Yeah. It's just so trying to win over the kiddies.
Oh, sure,
But I do want the piece that comes with that set. If you get that set that has Bob and Vincent,
diorama.
you get the missing piece that you need for the diorama that goes with Maximilian.
Yeah, it's really cool.
But with Maximilian, you get that alternate head that has Reinhardt's face in it.
Which is genius.
You have that, Dan?
You know, I don't have any black hole toys, and I kind of wish I had some. They're just so expensive and hard to get now. But,
Yes.
you know, do you not like Vincent and Bob because they have those kind of big cartoonish eyes? Is that a major kind of?
There's a lot of reasons. First of all, I by that point I was like, okay, I get it. You want to make your version of R2D2. I get it.
Yeah.
I've seen this attempt maybe now 12 times.
Yeah, those
So here's
tweaky
your version.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, I think we were all, you know, if we all saw it when it first came out, we were all kids, if not teenagers, and I think we all got it. We all understood where they were coming from, and I was like, okay, I get it. And but they won me over because they had personalities that were nothing like R2D2 and C-3PO.
Sure.
You know, there was a backstory. Well, you know, they had a backstory that they were like the A model for a long time, and then they got shoved out by the jocks.
Bob is so terrible that he is actually, his damage is molded.
Well, yeah, but you heard about how it happened, right? They sculpted Bob. They sculpted Bob, and they had a sculpt of him, you know, in clay. And then the director came by and said, he's not damaged enough, and so the story goes that he picked up, you know, a heavy object, not a baseball, I don't know what not a baseball bat. I doubt there was a baseball bat in the guy's studio, but he picked up and just started bashing it.
Really?
And they kept it. So that bash that's on the top of his head was from the director.
Wow, that's interesting.
Well, it's still not good though. and then the dump, like, that's the thing. I have a love-hate relationship with that movie because
I know what you mean.
In some ways it's brilliant. Like, in some ways it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But then in other ways, and then you got like the gunfight between and I'm like, what is happening?
But
let's go back to the astronauts taken over and turned into robot slaves. Like,
but remember, this
part.
Yeah. This was at a time when Disney didn't know what the hell to do. Yeah. And Star Wars was so huge, they rushed to make. They like, what do we do? We'll just put robots in it, like you know. I mean, it's kind of amazing that it came out even as good as it did to me, because like it was a weird time.
It could have been worse. That's true.
Yeah.
The irony, the incredible irony is how they could never really get that. So eventually they just had to buy it, which is what they did. You know, they bought Star Wars, and now they own it. And
and how do you ruin Yvette Mimieux? I mean, like that hair.
Yeah, the hair is not right. You're right. She's so gorgeous, and the hair is not.
It's like my mom after like getting ready for church.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
I got an answer to that. So because I did some reading. So basically, Yvette Mimieux's hairdo came out of the fact that there are scenes in the film where they are on their ship, the Palomino, and the ship operates on low gravity. So they're floating around, and which is actually really cool. They're floating around the film, which you never see in science fiction movies, except for not even 2001: A Space Odyssey. So, I mean, that was before we knew the effects of zero gravity in space. But so the idea was that if she had curly hair that didn't wave around, they could get over they could deliver the effect of weightless in a way that didn't look funky because her hair wasn't, going everywhere. So
Dan, that makes sense. Dan, first of all,
they pulled it off in Barbarella.
But Dan, the fact that you know so much about black holes is amazing. Those are two anecdotes I never knew about. So.
Yeah, that's great.
We're gonna have to bring you back for our black hole episode.
Yes.
I get to a point when I watch old movies that I pick up while I'm watching them. I get a question comes in my mind, and it used to be you'd have a question, then you'd go, "Shut up, let's watch the movie." But now I have the answer at your fingertips.
Yeah,
and
right.
So you can just go on IMDb or Wikipedia or wherever, and you can find out.
Somebody knows.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, that was a good one.
That was a great one.
That was great.
So everyone feels like Maximilian would win that one. Okay.
Overall,
great.
I think we got Maximilian winning. All
right.
Fine.
So who wants to go next? You guys want to flip a coin? Who is it going to be?
Okay. Here we go. Okay. All right. So how about this? Since we're on the topic of robots, we talk about some female robots. What if we did Maria Robot from Metropolis from 1927, played by Bridget Helm. That was the film directed by Fritz Lang, versus Pris, played by Daryl Hannah in the 1982 Blade Runner.
Now, that's good. I like that.
Now, before everyone goes, no, before you go, Pris, let me remind you that the Maria robot it's not just that mechanical. It develops the human skin, and Maria robot she's really evil, and she can move around, and she's very physical, and she's a robot. So I understand Pris is a pleasure robot. Maria robot is more like an evil robot. So what do you think? Maria robot versus Pris?
Wow.
That's really good.
I like that one a lot. I do like that one, yes. And I have an opinion.
Oh, please.
I think it would be Pris.
Really?
And I think it would be Pris because I think Pris has had more experience fighting.
Yeah, she's fucked up way more people.
Yeah. I think
because,
in general, in her lifetime, she has experienced more. She's also experienced a lot of tragedy. So there's that element. There's that feeling of revenge. Where I feel like with Maria, it's kind of her rage is almost like programmed into her.
Mm-hmm.
But
she is formidable in her, what do we call that? The endoskeleton.
See, that's the funny thing. When you look at Pris, she's an android. That style seems to me to be more can be damaged more easily than the Maria robot, which has over that.
But aren't all replicants a little bit more than human though, as far as
a little tougher
and stronger and faster?
Yes.
And I think that Pris would have the perseverance to stay in the fight until she ripped Maria's head off or something. I think she would find that weakness.
Like nothing would stop her.
Yeah.
Right. I agree.
So I think she's probably more cunning too.
Yeah, James, you agree?
I agree. She would have speed and agility and ferocity on her side. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it could be, but we don't really know how strong that robot shell is.
Yeah.
So it could, that's the other side of it, is that it could be at least a stalemate because she might just not be able to get into that robot. But I think that she'd figure out a way.
There's no stalemate in this room. There's no stalemate.
Well, then I'm still with Pris then.
All right.
I think she'd figure out a way.
All right. Dan, you think so too?
Pris is also a gymnast, let's not forget. And
yes.
One of the ways that she clobbers Deckard is by getting up on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Practically breaking his neck. Although I still can't understand how he was able to turn around while she was on top of him. But I
know every time I see that, I cringe because it looks like she's really twisting his neck.
Well, the reason he's able to do that is because he's a replicant. But anyway.
Yes. You hear that, Larry?
No.
You hear that?
No.
He's a replicant.
It's Dan.
Obvious.
No,
it's not go down that route.
Not obvious.
It's very simple.
Hello, are we going to get into our unicorn discussion again?
Unicorn equals replicant. That's it.
What? Unicorn means replicant? No, Dan.
Unicorn equals replicant.
BOOM. Boom.
Dan, do you ever have dreams at night where you dream about fanciful creatures and unicorns?
Sure. But then my kids don't leave a little unicorn origami on my pillow.
Yep.
The next day.
Okay. All right. Well, Dan, that's great. Okay, Sean, your turn. Let's move on.
Welcome to the show, Dan.
I wanted to say something about Maria, though, which is...
yes, go ahead.
Why not? Why not? You're our guest. Go ahead.
No, I wanted to say, Maria, if she's a hard shell robot who's able to somehow become flesh, she seems like she's a lot more technologically advanced than Pris, who's just flesh and blood. There's nothing hard about Pris. She's just she's a very rigorous, very sturdy human, basically.
Yeah.
Because they're just flesh and blood, but Maria is not flesh and blood. So if she could move as fast.
Yeah, but that we don't know.
Only thing Pris would have would be, an artificial human, more human than human intelligence.
Did you guys forget that great dance sequence in Metropolis where she's wearing that really skin tight and see-through outfit and she does those moves? Did you forget about that?
No, I mean, I'm saying, if she's soft but hard underneath, and she should be very hard.
Just like all women.
Oh, come on now. Come on. All right. Well, thank you, Dan, for adding that little tidbit. All right.
Never say never.
I like it. That was good. I like that one, Larry.
That was very good.
Thank you. Sean?
Okay, so as always, I always try to pick ones that are kind of like, even though they're from different universes, they kind of have some similar qualities so they can be a good match. So for this one, what about The Mandalorian versus RoboCop?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Because originally I was going to say Mandalorian versus Iron Man, but then Tony Stark's got too much advanced technology. But RoboCop, I think, is closer to the Mandalorian in his weapons. Also, RoboCop, by RoboCop 3, he had a jetpack and could fly too. So, like, you got the Mandalorian, you got the blaster, flamethrower, grappling line, jetpack, that Beskar steel, whistling birds, just little missiles. You got the vibro blades, but RoboCop has rocket launcher, flamethrower, jetpack, assault cannon, gun arm. I mean, they're both packed with weapons. I would say both kind of similar in their how quickly they can move in their feet, stuff like that. So
really,
well, I mean,
I think Mandalorian's a little more agile.
Well, maybe, but RoboCop I say is more sturdy though. Yeah, I mean, if they're in a room fighting, and I'm not sure about who would win. Actually, I'm kind of like throwing it out because I think they're pretty close. I mean, it'd be a lot of like gunfire and explosions and
firepower. RoboCop just by nature has more firepower.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm leaning toward Mandalorian because I think that Mandalorian has the skills.
More the combat skills,
skills.
It's so funny you should say that because let us remember that RoboCop is not. It's not like a robot. He still has a brain. Right. And I think especially by RoboCop 3, I think that the RoboCop character would definitely have the way with it all. And let us not forget that great little spiky thing that comes out of his hand. And you know what? That's kind of how I see it ending. The two would battle, the two would fire stuff, and then all of a sudden they get in this headlock, and then all of a sudden RoboCop would go, just do that little thing in the Mandalorian's throat or something, and then he'd go, and that's how I think. I don't think it would be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go with the RoboCop because the other thing too is he has the stability and he can probably keep fighting for a long period of time.
It's interesting because you think about Mandalorian is he's a bounty hunter, he's a trained fighter, but then RoboCop is a cop. I mean, he's been trained in the mean streets of Detroit, and now he's got this enhancement, all these robotic stuff. So they're both pretty badass,
Yeah, and he's not going to tire out. I mean, that's the thing that gets me. Is RoboCop's not going to tire out because
true. Maybe Mandalorian might eventually. True. Yeah. No, it's kind of tough. I think I kind of go with RoboCop. But very narrow. What do you think?
Anybody else? James?
No, I did not see any of the RoboCop sequels. Based on the first movie alone, I'd give it to The Mandalorian. But from what you're saying about RoboCop 3, sounds like RoboCop.
Because you can fly.
RoboCop.
Yeah, I mean, they could be battling in the sky in their jetpacks, firing at each other.
Yeah.
So Dan, what do you think? You think RoboCop or you think Mandalorian?
Mandalorian all over the place.
You think Mandalorian? Oh, tell me why. Educate me, sir.
Just because he's been trained to fight from the time he was a baby.
Yep.
He does this for a living where he's not just trying to defend himself. He has to go in defensive, and not just for his job, but for just trying to get a bowl of soup at the local, he has to fight. Every time he walks into town, he has to be ready for someone to stab him in the back. So, I mean, he's way too agile and prepared to fight, a cyborg. I mean, a cyborg's no problem because what I'm saying? It's just, another thing too is what's with all these robots that are really cyborgs? Hector's a cyborg. RoboCop's a cyborg. They're not robots.
Yeah. Go full robot.
You remember when they used to call them robots? You remember in the 50s?
Robots, people would call them robots, yeah.
That's like people who say Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Hi, I'm Jerry Spider-Man.
I'm Jerry Spider-Man.
What about a robot versus Spider-Man?
All right, that's a pretty good argument. I mean, I can see that. I think it'd be really close though. Still,
Okay. So
I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Dan, what do you think? You think Mandalorian?
Yeah, he thinks Mandalorian.
Yeah. I think
Matt.
Mandalorian.
I think RoboCop. Sean.
I think I'm still going to stick with RoboCop. Yeah.
James.
Based on RoboCop 3, I'll say RoboCop.
All right. Okay.
All right.
I like it. Rebel.
Nice one. All right. So James, why don't you throw one in here?
Okay. Hedera, the smog monster,
Ooh.
versus the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Oh my God.
That's good.
I'd love to see that.
That is good.
Oh, that's good. I want to see that.
It's
Yeah.
going to be a dirty.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, now again, you have kind of supernatural versus
Yeah.
Right.
kaiju,
Right.
Because, I mean,
Because Hedera is a kaiju born of earthly things, even though it's
biological
pollution.
creature.
Whereas the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is an apparition, technically, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's conjured from
Wait,
Yeah.
but it's a real marshmallow thing though. It's not.
but
true.
conjured into existence through supernatural means.
Yes, but
Okay.
the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is not going to turn around and go magic. No, it's like a giant marshmallowy creature that's fighting a filthy smog monster creature.
But would the toxic fumes or the toxic waste or acid or anything from Hedera bother Stay Puft Marshmallow Man? Would it just regenerate?
Could it melt him?
That I don't know. That's the question here is that from what I know from Ghostbusters, I would think that any giant creature could just take the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and just tear him apart till he's nothing but tiny marshmallow pieces, unless he can come back together.
Right.
You know, Hedera doesn't really have like a giant, teeth mouth or, I mean.
Well, he could just fall on him and just kind of roll around. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say this, James. I've always wanted to. I thought it'd be neat to go up to the Stay Puft Marshmallow and just go, say bye. But now Hedera would just mess that up. Now it's gonna be, like when you drop you're roasting marshmallows and you drop the marshmallow into the flame, it gets all ashes, and you look at it as a kid and you start crying. And
is there a giant monster that's made entirely of chocolate and graham crackers? Because there should be, right?
Yes.
S'mores are up.
S'mores are up.
S'mores are up.
You know what though? But I kind of have a feeling though that how intelligent or smart is the marshmallow guy? Is he just would he know to grab the eggs inside Hedera and tear them out at the end or whatever that is? Like how would you know how to defeat
I think he's more of just a malevolent force.
I think it's funny, Sean. I think he's this giant angry force just by using his force of his weight and stuff. I think he's like a dumb thing. I would give Hedera some kind of credit where it's like a small brain or whatever, but it's
there's a little something in there as opposed to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
I kind of think the smog monster could engulf Marshmallow Man, and just by using the acid within its stomach and stuff, it could make Marshmallow Man into like a giant, disgusting, gross melted.
Disgusting, but delicious.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I don't know. No. Do you eat marshmallows like out of the garbage can?
Sean,
you are smoking way too much pot.
Just melted marshmallows. A vat of regular melted marshmallows would be delicious.
Yes, but
that would be great.
Didn't you say
not with toxic waste?
I just want
That's fluff.
Yes, you said that Hedera had poo in them. So basically, it's like acidy poo all over your marshmallow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't eat that. I wouldn't go near that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I guess. I probably can see Hedera.
Put me off s'mores forever.
We don't know. We don't know actually if Hedera can change him back to his other former versions. We don't know if there's other versions of Hedera that he can turn into too, because he transforms from like 3 or 4 different incarnations.
Guys, normally I would go with the supernatural creature wins. However, in this case, I actually think that Hedera would at least win the battle. We're talking about a fight.
I agree.
Is there a possibility that through supernatural forces, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man can put himself back together and then reconstitute?
Right.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh.
But I think that fight would end with a bunch of smashed marshmallow limbs
All right.
covered in
Yeah, I think
poo.
you're right.
Irradiated.
Yeah.
Nice one, James. I did
Dan?
like that one.
Dan, any thoughts? Thank you.
You know, the only thing that comes to mind is that the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man is like a giant baby. He's got this big grin on his face, and he's and then they do something that makes him mad. And so I think
Right.
Ghidorah, another gigantic beast coming toward him, he would just start crying and and he would. That'd be it.
Again, I want to
Yeah.
see this fight. I really do want to see this fight.
James, I do want to see this though.
Yeah.
Can you
Oh, yeah.
make a call or something?
Yeah. Call
We'll do,
Kyle
our,
down.
we'll do our stop motion version.
All right, Matt.
Cool.
Matt, how about you?
Oh, you're going to love this one.
I can't wait.
Minya,
Ooh.
the son of Godzilla,
Mm-hmm.
otherwise known as Manila.
Yeah.
Or
in what-
Minya.
Yeah, Minya. We all normally refer to him as Minya, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Versus Godzuki.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow.
Now, I'm surprised. I looked at our past lists, and I thought for sure someone had pitched this.
No,
would think.
It's not there.
because
Never happened.
we hate one of these characters so much.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring it up.
Yeah.
But
It's interesting, Matt. It's
because you've
interesting-
yeah.
In the Godzilla cartoon, did Godzuki blow smoke rings also?
Now I didn't have the patience or wherewithal to go back and actually watch one.
Yeah.
However,
I think he might have.
on a wiki page, I was told that he can fly. We know
yeah,
that.
we all
Yeah.
know that.
And he can release streams of black smoke from his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Huh,
And he can
okay.
breathe fire when he is strong enough.
Okay.
So I guess, once he's eaten, or I don't know what strong
Look.
enough means, but when he gets enough sunshine, he
Right.
can blow fire.
The one difference between the two is, so Godzuki can fly. Okay, he can do that. I'm gonna.
He can fly, and I think Minya's bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Right?
a little bigger. Yeah, a little bit.
Because wasn't Godzuki was he the size of a person or
Yes.
no?
Yes. No. He was the size of a person. Yes.
He was the size of a person. So Minya's a lot bigger.
Unless, of
Yeah.
course, we're talking
Yeah.
about Godzilla's Revenge, which
Yeah,
he
right.
changes size.
Which is a
That's like more
fantasy.
fantasy, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
that kinda doesn't count.
Don't nod your head.
No. No. See, Dan listens to reason.
Oh, what is it, Dan?
Are we talking about the Minya? We're talking about the original Minya, not the one from Space Godzilla. Because I
No.
like the Space-
Yeah,
the
yeah.
original Minya,
Yeah,
Son
with
of
that-
Godzilla.
son of Godzilla,
Yeah.
destroy all monsters.
When he changes his size, that's a kiddie thing. That's not. I don't go for that. I don't see that as being real. I mean, yeah, if
Well,
Godzuki
hey,
is the
no.
size of a human,
We don't play
man.
that game here.
Where's your
It's fucking real. Godzuki is real. Real as a nightmare, Dan.
I want that on a T-shirt. Godzuki is real.
Well, I prefer to defer to the Destroy All Monsters version.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair
sure.
enough.
Yeah.
But if Godzuki is the size of a man, forget it. There's no contest, right? I mean,
No, he can fly. He can be a
fly,
pestilent.
though.
He can fly.
If you can fly and
He can
shoot
fly?
fire,
He can
Oh,
fly,
okay.
and so what
No.
if he flies right up? Because we also know that
There's
by
nostril.
nature, Minya is a little timid.
yeah. Well,
He doesn't have killer instinct.
yeah. He gets the crap beat out of him by the praying mantises.
But guys, we all know that Dad pushes him a little bit.
Well,
and-
yeah, but there's no dad here. It's one room,
Right.
two people, no dad.
Nobody to step on his tail.
Yeah.
All Godzuki would have to do is fly around Minya until he falls over, and Minya is like a turtle on its back. He cannot get up. But
True.
I will say this: if Minya's smoke ring can bring down Ghidra in Destroy All Monsters, then it can definitely bring down Godzuki.
Yes, I would say.
Ah.
I would say
Yeah.
though the smoke rings do not by themselves
No.
bring down Ghidra.
No, yes,
They're beating
thank
the
you,
shit out
Sean.
by 10 other monsters.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Yeah,
the
that's-
final little blow that did it. But
Yeah, that's
but-
like giving somebody one final kick after 9 guys.
Yeah.
Yes, but Sean, but we're not talking about Ghidra. We're talking about a little small Godzuki.
yeah,
Right.
I think James
Right.
brings up a very good point. And I'm
Well,
thinking,
I guess maybe you have to be lucky enough to get in a lucky blow, like
What if Godzuki flies around, as you were saying, with the dizziness, flies around his head, gets him dizzy, and then just goes for the eyes. and just blows fire into those eyes until it goes right into his brain.
Because you're no. No, Matt, you're saying that's not in the creature's nature.
How do you know?
Well, but I can play by the same rules. If you're gonna go, all of a sudden Godzuki gets me and goes, I'm gonna go for it.
Here's what I want to know.
Minya would turn around and go, all right, fucker. Here, I'm gonna blow my smoke with you. And he'd go, ha, ha,
okay, all right, no, fair. You know what? Fair enough, Larry. Fair enough. So they both go into the room, right?
Yes.
And now something has happened to them where they are, it's like Beneath the Planet of the Apes, where you got the mutants making them fight, right?
Yeah, right.
And they can't help it.
Yeah.
So they have to just try to kill each other.
Okay.
Just by what they got to deal with.
This is the nerdiest fucking conversation ever.
Okay, Matt, I like this. Okay, yeah, I understand. Beneath Planet of the Apes, they're going doo, and the monsters are.
Yes.
Must go for the eyes.
We do not kill our enemies. We get our enemies to kill each other.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say Minya would win.
All
Okay.
right. Okay. We got any other votes?
I think Minya's just too helpless and he's a baby still. He's a little toddler.
Wait,
so I think Godzuki. Here's what I want to know: what the fuck is Godzuki a spawn of? Why does he have wings? Was it like Godzilla and Rodan mated? Something like what the fuck is he?
Hey, what was Steven Tyler's Liv Tyler?
Okay,
remember how she showed up out of nowhere?
Yes, and she's
that's
lovely.
That's what happened with Godzuki.
Okay, but look,
all of a sudden showed up at the doorstep. Oh yeah, Phoenix. That's right. Yeah, I remember.
But the difference here is you're thinking of Minya right when he came out of the egg. I don't see that. I see Minya's been around. I mean, he's still small. Let's get through Son of Godzilla, where he's a little older. Maybe he's about a year or two. Okay, and he's experienced stuff on the island. He's had his dad step on his tail. He has some experience.
A little bit.
I got you, Larry. I got you. Because Son of Godzilla. He's blown the smoke rings. He's just been born, okay. But then some years must have passed until we got to Destroy All Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Still blowing smoke rings.
True.
A failure.
Because when you look at when Minya first comes out of the egg, he's like almost like a little embryo. Well, not embryo, but he's like really, really tiny.
No, I know that.
Then grows into he's a newborn baby. Then he becomes like a toddler later in the film.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me get more specific. So Matt, which Minya is it that goes into the room? Is it the baby one that comes out of the egg, or is it the one that
is certainly not the baby, because then we'd have to find the cartoon where Godzuki came out of the egg. There is no such thing as far as I know.
It's Minya versus
my slash fiction. Yes, there is. But,
okay,
but no, we'd have to go with the adult versions, and so that would be the Destroy All Monsters one.
I feel that the atomic rings are atomic rings, whereas Godzuki, it's more like fire. It's not as powerful as like an atomic ring. So I feel that as much as Minya shoots out the atomic ring, I think the atomic energy in the rings is gonna wear on Godzuki. And think about it, Godzuki, he's trying to fly, and I'm breathing fire, and that's going to wear that little asshole out. So I think
you really hate Godzuki.
What's the like?
Yeah. So I think Godzuki, Matt Godzuki's going to think, I'm going to fly around. That's what he's going to think. He's going to fly around, but he's going to get tired. I'm getting tired. I'm getting injured.
Why is he doing all this flying? He flies and he lands on Minya, and he just hangs out and just keeps like smacking him in the ear
like a parrot.
Yeah, and then right. You know how like in the Three Stooges, the parrot would go inside the chicken to make everyone think that the chicken was still alive.
Yes. Look, okay.
He'd be doing all of that kind of stuff. It'd be a lot of like poking in the eyes and.
So Matt, who do you think would win?
I think it's Godzuki. I'm going to go with Godzuki.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Minya. Sean.
I think Godzuki, because we don't know how he seems to be a little more mature. I think to me, he's like full grown that way. He's not like a baby. He's just that's the size that he is, and he's full grown. He's a little more cunning, maybe.
James.
Yeah, I'd give it to Godzuki too.
All right,
Yeah.
Dan.
James.
I know. I'm sorry, Larry.
Dan.
Okay, so we know that Godzuki could fly up Minya's nostril, go up into his sinuses, and just he can blow fire into his fists all day. But it's not going to kill him. You know, I mean, I don't see how Minya doesn't win. And that was a really good point about the atomic rings, because the radiation would take Godzuki out.
Atomic.
Wait a minute.
Do we know if Godzuki
Wait
is
a minute.
atomic?
Godzilla's atomic.
Yeah,
So
is that Godzuki?
we know that he comes from
So all
atomic
people that
stock.
hang with him in the cartoon are dead. They all
No, Sean just said, "Oh, where the hell did he come from? He's got wings. That's not Godzilla." So, I mean, we're not sure where Godzuki came.
Yeah, the origin story of Godzuki
I
is
don't
never
see
explained.
Godzuki as being an atomic monster. I see him, he breathes fire. Like you said, he barely flies.
But wait a minute. We're talking about abilities too, and we're talking. What do we know from what we've seen in the movies about Minya? We know that those rings barely hurt or affect anyone.
To be honest,
And so maybe later, like Chernobyl, eventually, 3 days later, Godzuki would be an award somewhere. My
It's
face.
It's a fight that's longer than the wrestling scene in They Live. You know,
See that I want
everyone
to
gets
see.
tired and go home while these guys are trying to kill. They could never kill each other. You know, they wear each other out, maybe.
Yeah,
You know, some friends.
I'm just
All
glad
right.
that we settled this.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that I will have to say,
Did
Matt,
we?
that is we disagree here, but I will say, Matt, that is a good matchup.
Very
All right,
good.
well, thank you, sir.
Dan, how about another one?
All right, Dan, come on.
Back in your corner.
Okay, so here's one I like. Let me cross it off my list here. General Kale from Willow.
Oh my God,
Okay.
Which one's that?
Willow.
Someone want to describe General Kale from
Yeah,
Willow?
someone help me out here.
He's the skull face mask wearing general who's the henchman of the sorceress.
He's like the
Right.
isn't he? He's like
In Willow.
the Tulsa Doom. Isn't he like the Tulsa Doom of the?
No, he's more like Darth Vader of Willow. You know how Willow has all these
That's yes.
Tulsa Doom is a sorcerer. Kale's as a general, so he's more like Darth Vader.
Yeah,
Uh,
Larry.
Or
Was it more like a
Fury-
Clytus from Flash Gordon?
you guys don't remember? You don't remember General Kale from?
No, I
from
got him.
Willow?
No, I tried
I
to put the
do.
entire movie of Willow out of my head.
I'm on Willow. I'm on Willow
Come on.
Wiki.
Okay.
He looks tough. He
Okay.
looks tough.
Okay. So
He's
General
got the
Kale.
skull face. He's badass.
Okay.
He looks
Versus.
badass.
So General Kale from Willow versus Dark Wolf from Fire and Ice.
Ooh,
Wow.
Oh,
boy, that's going deep. All right,
Yeah.
Frazetta.
Do you guys remember Dark Wolf from
I remember Fire
He's
and
on the
Ice. I like
poster.
Fire and Ice a lot. Yeah.
Now that
Oh yeah, Dark Wolf was awesome. Yeah.
He's
So
kind of the cross between the Death Dealer and Conan.
Yeah. I just don't know enough about General Kale though. Like, what did he do in Willow? I don't remember.
He rides a horse, a black horse, and commands an army, and he doesn't have any
Okay.
power. He's a fierce warrior.
Well,
And
well, Dan, what
I
do
don't
you
know.
what do you think? What do you think?
wait a minute now. So do either of these guys have any supernatural powers?
no, they just have big weapons. They
Okay.
have cool masks, big weapons, and
Don't you
Yeah.
think that?
Tough.
Don't you think that General Kale, because he is a general and he has been tested in battle throughout,
Oh, that's good.
you know,
Okay.
I think he's a bigger, bulkier, more muscular, experienced fighter than I think Dark Wolf would be.
he's
I think
older.
you bring up a good point. He is older,
Yeah,
but don't you think that would make him more cunning or more experienced?
It could.
experience.
it could. Although there is an argument for the fact that Dark Wolf is kind of this loner and has managed to stay alive without the help of an army or a sorcerer behind him for many years, with just basically a big axe and giant pecs and a wolf head on his, over his head. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just come out with these. I never really got far into who would win, because to me it's more the matchup. Well,
maybe Dark Wolf then, because he's just brute strength and nothing is like that ferociousness.
Well, I don't know. Dark Wolf is pretty strong.
Yeah.
And so my view of this so far is that in General Kale's prose, I think that the fact that he's got a good amount of armor helps a little bit, because Dark Wolf, for the most part, just has like this bare chest. So you're leaving yourself open just from a defensive standpoint, and he has that one axe. But at the same time, I have a feeling he's done a lot more hand-to-hand fighting on a regular basis. Like generals, when it comes to any kind of campaign, there's a lot of downtime, and then there's the fighting.
Sure. Yeah. And also he's a general, and he's commanding, not so much. I just
in the trenches.
He's like foreman on the job.
Yeah.
And Dark Wolf is the laborer.
Yeah, he's doing it like on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
I'm sure that he kills someone, probably more than one person a day.
Recently.
Just as a part of his life.
Recently.
Yeah.
Right.
Look at his diary. It says, killed 2 people. Maybe I should get some armor.
Hale strikes me as the kind of guy who spends a lot of time crushing skulls for fun, but people who are like in a dungeon can't fight back.
Right.
Maybe he goes in.
Bullying.
Okay, Dan.
Right. And every once in a while, I don't know. But
no. Don't say you don't know. You do know.
I do know.
You're doing a very good. You have swayed me to, because my first opinion was, you have swayed me. Now
how has he changed you? You've changed since the beginning of this podcast.
He's touched all of us now.
Dan, I think Dark Wolf.
Who are you?
He's a magic man.
He's a magic man. Okay, who would win?
Dark Wolf
Heart?
was conceived by
Pat Benatar.
Dark Wolf was conceived by Frazetta. So I mean, how do you beat that? How does a George Lucas character beat a Frazetta character?
There you go, right there.
Okay. All right.
I watched both films, and so just from I'm not a big Willow guy, but and I barely remember him or that film. I remember Rick Overton and Kevin Pollak.
Yeah, and the shitty 2-headed dragon.
Yeah, but I do remember Dark Wolf, and I remember this is a tough badass.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to be on his bad side. So I'm going with Dark Wolf.
All right. I'm going with Dark Wolf. James?
Well, I have to admit, I haven't seen either film, but I know that Kale was Kale was named
just
after
pretend. Jesus Christ.
Kale was named after film critic Pauline Kael, and she could be pretty ruthless.
God, that's hilarious.
So maybe that's
Pauline
an advantage.
Kael versus
wasn't
Roger Ebert.
And wasn't the 2-headed creature the Ebercyst, which was named after Siskel and Ebert?
Yes.
Oh, that's so funny and clever. Wow.
See, now you have to look at Willow with different eyes.
Yeah.
How about with no eyes?
And then there was the Rex. Then there was the Rex Reaper.
Don't forget the Gene Shalatizer.
Yeah, don't let his hair get you. The mustache is made of snakes.
All right. Well, Dan,
isn't this fun?
So Dan, that was a nice one.
Yeah.
So look, we've done some robots, we've done some monsters, and so we've done some
condescending prick.
How about we?
Dan, that was adorable.
No, that was
adorable.
Okay, and speaking of adorable,
okay,
what if these 2 creatures enter a room and only one's going to leave? So let's think of the amazing alien world. What if we have the little E.T., the extraterrestrial from 1982, directed by Steven Spielberg, versus the alien, one of the aliens from the 1953 War of the Worlds. And if you remember, they had kind of the big head and the eyes, and then the little, What? Wait. So they both come in a room, And E.T. has his little ouch. He has his little
Yes,
finger and he can make things kind of fly in the air.
Come back to life.
And yes, and the War of the Worlds alien doesn't have that ability.
That's true.
So the alien by itself without any weapons.
Yes, without any weapons, Sean.
Yeah, because you don't really know. They might be a little more vulnerable without all their weapons or without being in their spaceships. We don't know kind of how strong they are.
The other thing too, not to give it away, but you know what happens when those aliens come to Earth and a little COVID-19 and they're gone. But meanwhile, E.T.
But he's not fighting COVID-19. He's fighting E.T.
E.T. I know.
Don't
So
change
imagine
the rules of the room.
I'm not changing the rules of the room. I'm just saying these two aliens enter, and so there you have the War of the Worlds alien versus E.T.
I would say personality-wise, because the Martians are warlike and they come to Earth to destroy people, so they're willing and ready to commit murder.
Yes.
And E.T. is just so adorable and wants to make plants live, and like he's dead. He's dead in 5 minutes.
Yeah. This is right. The fight goes like this.
E.T. doesn't know what violence is.
They walk into the room. The War of the Worlds alien goes, "Hey, look over there," and E.T. looks over there and he snaps his neck.
Yeah,
no. See,
it's like Ridley Scott's Alien fighting an Eloy. It would take 10 seconds.
No. See, you guys think that you guys are totally forgetting that E.T. has this power. He has the. I can see when that alien from War of the Worlds comes rushing towards E.T. E.T. will go, oh, and he'd hold up his little finger and he'd take that alien and make him go up in the air, and then have the alien just fall down and drop and just get squashed on the ground.
Well, now you have brought up a good point about the levitation thing.
Yeah,
because that could be a help.
How long can you hold that?
But the problem I'm having though with this is that what is it going to take for ET to realize that this shit is real?
Yeah.
And I gotta bring it before he's dead.
See, you're
my problem.
You're assuming that we're not telling ET, ET, you're going to go in that room, and
now he's going to be like, no, it's okay.
no, ET, you got to go in that room. And either you're going to come out or that other alien.
No, can I fight Godzuki instead?
You never. I don't remember ever seeing ET use his powers to defend himself. He uses powers. He uses powers to make the bicycles fly and do all these things to escape. But when it comes to actually, using them against those who are pursuing him, you never see that. And it's just, maybe it's not his nature, but there's no reason to think that ET would use those powers in time to defend himself. That's the issue.
Could he levitate the War of the Worlds alien and just keep him levitated until he falls asleep? Eventually he's got to sleep, right? I'm assuming. I'm assuming most creatures have to sleep.
Yes. No.
And so he could do that. I mean, I don't know. I still kind of lean toward the War of the Worlds because I just feel like it's the killer instinct.
The nature, nature.
Yeah, I thought you'd really think this through. You're like, oh wow, killer instinct.
Thinking it through. No, because I just threw you a bone with the levitating.
Yeah, and can he sustain that levitation? Maybe it's like after a while he can't concentrate as much anymore, and he's gonna,
Now, if he had the killer instinct in him to levitate him and then throw him against the wall, they do look pretty vulnerable.
Yeah.
When they're not in their spaceships, so it might be just one thing. So it's, I don't know. You see, I am thinking about this, Larry.
Mm-hmm. Dan, what do you think?
I think you guys are forgetting the Drew Barrymore factor.
Okay.
What's that?
Which is
what she's
that
Post Playboy. What?
She's 6 years old. At this point in time, she's probably 6 years old. But the thing is that when E.T. has his friends, that he has Drew and Henry Thomas and even the older annoying brother, those are his friends and those are people that he really cares about. And so he has a lot at stake. So when a Martian crawls out of his war machine, and they have war machines because they're not very intimidating without them.
True.
I think he's got a lot more on his side as far as a motivation than just a robotic sort of Johnny One Note invader. Because these the Martians are smart and everything, and they're remember they have the intellect, and they can build these machines and all this stuff, but they don't have friends. They don't have people they care about. And I know this sounds, sappy, but I think that he's got way more at stake than just a Martian warrior. So I think he's going to wipe the floor with a Martian easily.
So you think he's just going to like not give up because
I mean, how hard is it going to be to, like Matt said, to levitate him over a lot of cliffs in Southern California, to levitate him over, up a hill. I mean, he can drop him in, he doesn't even have to kill him. He can just incapacitate him, I think, easily. So
Dan, I love this. I love this.
Hey, you know what? You're winning me over.
Yeah, me too.
You think so?
Yeah.
I mean, all I can think of is how pathetic they looked when they crawled out of the machine. And the only time you ever saw an H.G.
He has
Wells
the flu then.
The only time you ever saw them outside of their machines was when they were sick and dying. And the rest of the time, the only other time would be the Spielberg movie where they were prowling around. But I don't really see them as being H.G. Wells.
Oh, wait a minute. I just forgot.
No, there is a scene in the middle of the film where the two main characters are
Gene
in the
Barry
house.
and Robinson.
Gene Barry and Andrew. And then the little alien puts his 3 little fingers on her shoulder. And he kind of looks, his little veins are popping and stuff. Regardless, Dan, I really like your logic here.
But I think I've got the winning argument for E.T.
Okay.
Because if we remember, and I just thought of this, in War of the Worlds, in that scene, they shine the flashlight on him.
You're
and he turns around and goes, So
you're right.
All E.T. would have to do is light up his finger and then it's done.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It's all
Matt.
Yeah.
All right.
That's true.
Well,
Thank you.
See,
Thank you.
This is the kind of argument that I like.
But we logically walked through it. We just went into it and dug deep. So thank you.
I'm a better person, I think now.
So I guess we're all in agreement. E.T. would win this round.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're right.
Oh my God, our first unanimous, I think.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Nice one,
Very
gentlemen.
good.
Sean.
Okay, here's one that I think could be interesting. Emma Peel from the Avengers,
Ooh.
Diana Rigg
Love her.
versus Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow.
Hey, you know what, Sean?
Yeah.
You're not going to believe this.
What?
I had the exact same one.
You're kidding me.
No.
Because when you think about it, now I'm looking at Natasha Romanoff from the movies. Okay, I'm not as familiar with Black Widow from the comics, but
Right.
from the
I'm with you.
MCU.
Yeah.
Let's go with the
Now,
movies.
Emma Peel, remember, she's an expert at martial arts. She's fencing. She's super quick and agile, and she is a successful badass spy. Natasha Romanoff, of course, was raised since childhood to be a Russian spy, and she became a member of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And she's super badass and has all these fighting abilities. None of them have anything supernatural or she has
some weapons, but
they're just two badass chicks.
Right.
Now, I thought about this, and first,
two badass chicks.
Yeah.
It's the spin-off podcast that Shawn Sheridan is doing.
now, at first, from just what you see Natasha does in the movies, maybe you would go with her fighting abilities. But Emma Peel, though, she very rarely loses her cool. And she rescues John Steed from trouble just as much as he rescues her.
Probably more.
Yeah, in the show. And the thing I thought about is that Natasha Romanoff, though, comes with a lot of baggage. She comes with a dark past. She comes, being, kind of mind controlled by the Russians. And she's never really had a normal life or a normal kind of relationship or family, really. Yeah. So she's got that angst with her. Whereas Emma Peel, before she met John Steed, she was married and had a very, she kind of ran her father's business. And later she actually hooks up again with her husband, who she thought was dead. And she goes off and gives up the spy business and has a normal life. So she's, I just think, more together, maybe psychologically. And maybe that would help in the fight. I think they're both, but also look at the 60s TV show, The Avengers. There's only so much you could do as far showing the stunt work and the fighting. So,
right.
You look at
going with what we know, though.
Yeah. But the fact that she hardly ever loses a fight and she can take out anybody, but so can Natasha.
And so you would also say that it's in Emma Peel's prime, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Prime.
No, not from Game of Thrones.
Not from Game of Thrones.
No.
Yeah, not Rick from Game of Thrones. But I'm talking like, yeah, Emma Peel and Natasha both like at their prime fighting condition in one room fighting. Who do you think would win? I'm not sure.
Wow, Sean, that's a good one.
I think I know.
Okay.
I think it's Black Widow.
Okay.
And I think the reason is that, as you pointed out, she's been trained since birth, basically.
Right.
And Emma Peel, for as good of a fighter as she is, when you watch the Avengers episodes, the people that she fights, it's a bunch of regular goons for the most part.
Yeah, but she's like Cyberman.
Yeah, there's a couple people with a gut, and she gets a couple karate kicks, and that's fine. But then it's back to, hey, where are we going to eat? And let's pop a bottle of champagne.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of, it's not that much heavy lifting. Whereas Black Widow, I mean, she's just like the very beginning of it is like the first Avengers movie where she's being tortured.
Yeah, well, that's a great.
She gets out of it, and
well, she let herself.
That's just like a day. That's just like one moment in her. Life.
In her life. Yeah,
and so I just think she's just in better shape and ready for something to go down. Than as much as I love Emma Peel, I'll of the two that I would want to hang with, Emma Peel, 100%.
Yeah. I just feel like
she's more charming.
But I just have a feeling like Emma could start messing with her mind and saying, just kind of fucking with her and like getting her to like doubt herself.
Get her drunk. Just pop open a bottle of champagne.
I mean, I guess in plain physical fighting, probably I'd go with Black Widow, but I'm the same way. I want it to be Emma Peel to win.
Yeah, I mean, Emma Peel, like, I beat up Peter Cushing. Ooh,
Yeah. Right.
Oh, you're a badass.
Sean, I'm trying to look at it if in fairness, because one is in the 60s and one is like today.
Right,
I'm trying to think, if they gave Emma Peel the technology of today or the abilities of today, but I, like Matt said, I kind of want to side with Emma Peel, but I'm still leaning towards Black Widow. You bring up a really good thing, like that scene where she's captured and she gets out of that thing.
Right.
I think maybe Emma Peel might try to do it psychologically, whereas Natasha does it physically. So I think maybe...
And Natasha's good at that too, though.
Yeah,
there's that whole scene with Loki,
And I think it would be a pretty close fight, to be honest.
You know what? I do, Sean. It would be a close fight, but I think if push came to shove, I think I would go with Natasha Romanoff as winning the battle.
Okay.
I agree for the same reasons.
Dan?
I'm just sad that the two of them have to fight each other.
Why would you possibly be sad about that?
Because I like them so much. Them both so much.
Have you ever watched a Russ Meyer film? Come on.
My idea of Black Widow goes back to the 70s when she used to be Daredevil's partner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just liked her so much back then when I was 8 years old or 9 years old. And she had so much more experience in a much more higher stakes world, It's like Matt was saying, and I want to imagine Emma Peel not always fighting guys with a paunch, or you know what I mean? Or
yes.
So, or smoking cigars and
right.
So I don't know.
There's got to be a fight that doesn't involve a snifter of brandy nearby.
Right.
Okay, so I think we're all kind of leaning towards Black Widow, but Sean, I don't think it's slam dunk, and I think that's a great one.
It'd be a good fight to watch.
Yeah. James.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go where Dan decided not to go, but it's not with Charlton Heston. It's with Harrison Ford. Han Solo versus Rick Deckard.
Oh.
Because Deckard is supposedly a successful trained killer, whereas Solo is basically just a pirate and a smuggler.
Yes. Oh my gosh,
right.
James! It's so funny when you did it. My first thing, Han Solo. But then what you just said, you bring up a really good point.
The thing is though, Rick Deckard as a killer, as an android hunter, isn't necessarily all that successful all the time.
No, you're right. Yeah, he's in over his head in Blade Runner.
All the time.
But isn't that later in his career, though?
Yeah, I guess. He has been doing it
Because I think
for a
he's been
while.
kind of beat down by that point. And
Yeah,
he
that's
doesn't
true.
want to do it anymore.
He has a lot of skin
Reluctant.
jobs behind him.
Yeah,
but
right.
that's an emotional, moral thing. I don't think it's a physical thing because he's a replicant, so he's strong.
Whoa. This is an assumption. It's not a positive thing.
Yeah, but he can still feel
No, you're
pain.
right. That's it. No, that's it. I wasn't
Yeah,
even
but-
thinking that. And once again, Dan, you're right.
He's not
That's it.
right.
He's a replicant.
Can I just say one thing real? I just add to that is that if Deckard doesn't have that awesome gun, he's really not that quick on his feet. He's not a pugilist. He's not a martial artist. He's basically a guy who points a gun and shoots it. He's the guy
He's
that
a gun for hire.
he will do the dirty work. Whereas Han Solo, he gets the job done no matter what. So he's much craftier. He's much more creative. He's much more cunning.
Yeah.
You know, and he's sneaky.
But I would say that Han Solo, he doesn't display martial arts skills, or he's not a big fist
No, but
fighter.
sneaky
He
and
shoots with his
calculated.
blaster, and
Yeah.
yes, he is cunning.
Yeah, he's pretty.
But
clever,
I feel like from the information that I'm given in Blade Runner, that Deckard has been doing this for a long time and he's tired of it. And I'm sure the fact that he's a replicant, there's this inward thing that's been messing with him all along and makes him not want to do it.
Yeah.
But I do believe that
he's reluctant.
But he is ready to kill. And I have a feeling that just whatever his inner training is, that, you know, the big debate about Han shot first, right? I think Deckard would have shot first before Han would have.
Yeah.
Another thing too, I will say this, people always point out to, you know, in Blade Runner, you know, Deckard, he gets beat up all the time. Well, he's getting beat up by replicants. So, and
he can take it.
That's true.
My point is he's getting beat up by replicants, which have like more strength. So now if he goes up a mano, you know, Han Solo, I think it's more of an even fight. And I think he would get the better of Han Solo. I do.
I'm with Larry.
Yeah, I got to agree. I wasn't sure before.
And he's a
now-
replicant.
No, we don't know that for sure.
Yeah, but what you didn't know, Larry, is that Han Solo is a replicant.
No. Oh,
How about that?
Oh, well, where are the
How about
unicorns? Where are the unicorns there, huh?
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
Can a replicant out deflect or you know, outrun a blaster bolt? Because we know the blaster bolt moves much more slowly than a bullet. So if he's a replicant, maybe he can even get out of the way of a blaster. If Han Solo as his killing.
Wow.
That's a good point.
Wait, why is a blaster getting in the room? No.
Because what if Solo
So
uses,
nobody
he's
has any
using his
weapons.
Well, no, the weapons that they use.
No,
like-
Yeah, they have their
They
weapons.
can't have
Yeah.
weapons?
yeah.
Oh, well,
That was the whole
let's-
conversation with the Mandalorian and the RoboCop. It doesn't.
No. That's part of them. You know, that's
Well,
a part
we
of
have
their
those
makeup.
You can still take Errol Flynn and you know, Robin Hood, and you
Yeah, give him
take
a
away his
sword.
sword. Okay, he might be able to fight, but that's
Well-
part of his thing. So let him
well-
have his thing. Or a
well-
samurai for that matter.
Yeah.
Well, well, they both have guns. I mean, you're saying, oh, it's a blaster versus a big gun. I'm still going to go with Deckard.
Yeah.
Well, we're with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I like.
No argument.
I'm way more afraid of Deckard's gun than the laser blaster.
Sean, what do you think?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it might be still kind of a close call, but I think ultimately it's going to be Deckard.
Okay, Dan.
Oh, it's going to be Deckard for sure. Deckard is a killer, and he's Mr. Offense. And if anything, Han Solo is only defense. Do you know what I mean? He's not offensive.
He's out for himself. He just wants to. Yeah.
Well. Another
All right,
There you
one
go.
I mean,
where we
All right.
all
That's
agree.
true.
Well.
All right, Matt, it's your turn here.
Okay, I think this is one you guys are going to enjoy
Okay.
because this is one I've been thinking about. I think I know what the obvious answer is, but I'm curious to hear what you guys think.
Okay.
Here we go. Classic Flash Gordon cereal,
Mm-hmm.
Buster Crab Flash Gordon
Yes,
Mhm.
love him.
versus Gil Gerard Buck Rogers.
Oh,
Interesting.
Matt, that's a great one.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I
Now-
love this.
You know, they've got some similarities. They're kind of close when it comes to body types. I know where I go on this.
Whoa. Wait a minute.
I would say
Well,
Buster
close,
Crabbe.
close. When I say body types, I mean they're not what you would call classically super cut guys.
Buster Crabbe was an Olympic swimmer.
Well, yes, he was, and I'm not. Believe me, I'm not saying anything against Buster Crabbe. I'm just saying just a general type. Now, in my opinion, yes, Buster Crabbe is the guy who is way more physically fit, but that's not just the entire argument when it comes to this fight.
Right.
Because I think Buster Crabbe, he gets put through a lot
He does.
during all those serials.
No, that is true.
And Gil Gerard, gets into some scrapes. But for the most part, it's a lot of standing around in spandex,
Right.
his camel toe.
And thus the obvious element that you were talking about, Matt, right? Because you would think that it would be Buster Crabbe based on his physicality, right?
Yeah. You're going somewhere with this, huh?
I don't know where he's going. Where are you going, James?
So
I'm not
what do you
going
think?
I'm not going anywhere with it. I'm just it's if it is obvious, then where's the turning point? Why might Buck Rogers have the advantage?
Well, the one thing I could say with Buck Rogers is that Buck Rogers, there might be something to be said for the fact that, Flash Gordon has been through all this stuff. He might be a little cooler in a fight.
Yeah, I think the Flash Gordon that you're talking about is a little more like one note, a little more kind of like, not naive, but like, I think
He's got like 3 moves.
Yeah, whereas Gil Gerard, I mean, look, say what you will about the fight scenes in the Buck Rogers show, but Gil Gerard would like use these like kind of judo moves and these kicks, and like maybe they weren't that convincing, but for the show, he would take out these opponents.
Sean, if you're going to buy into these characters, you have to buy into the fact that maybe Gil Gerard knows a little bit of martial arts.
Yeah, he's also maybe a little more savvy and clever, maybe.
Yes,
cooler,
confident.
I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to suggest that Buster Crabbe or that Flash Gordon is like a true patriot, do-gooder kind of guy.
He's a product of his time. Yeah,
not really thinking of how he can manipulate the situation. It's a straightforward thing.
It's a straightforward fight.
Yeah, he wears everything on the sleeve, like you know where he's going.
Let us remember that Gil Gerard's Buck Rogers, he is from another time. He's from a time when we're a bit more selfish in our society, and I think he has a more scrappy.
He can think on his feet.
Yeah, so I understand what you're saying, Matt. I am going to go with, even though maybe Gil Gerard's Buck Rogers may not be in better shape, I do think that he'd probably be able to manipulate Flash Gordon much easier, and because of his mindset. So I'm going to go with
it's a craftier opponent.
Yes.
There might be a little more guile. I don't see a lot going on behind the eyes of the Buster Crabbe Flash Gordon,
which I love. Don't get me wrong.
Which is right.
Me too.
It was at that time. You're talking about an almost kind of cliched, one-note, square-jawed hero, but that's what he was.
But I love
now that being said, I'm not going to tell you what I think until I hear what Dan has to say.
Okay, Dan.
I'm totally for Buster Crabbe. He comes from a time when you don't think, you just act. You know what I'm saying? And I think that counts for life. Wipe the floor with Buck Rogers, Gil Gerard. Are you kidding me? And even though, Buck Rogers is, from another time and everything, Flash Gordon is he's just a man of action. He's just, I mean that he just goes straight into whatever he's doing. And even if that means he's going to run right into 5 guys and headbutt them and knock them over and then punch them out one by one, all while he's got, Gal on his arm, Dale. I think he's going to do that, right?
But so that's his problem. That's his problem, though. He's the guy. He's going to react. He's I'm a man of action. That's his problem. Whereas the Buck Rogers, Gil Gerard, I think
Buck could set him up.
Yeah. I'm going to feel out the situation here. I understand what you're saying.
Sure. Every villain always thinks they're going to set up Flash Gordon, and that's the whole point of the serials and the cliffhangers. And he always gets out of them. He always gets out of those cliffhanger situations. So
so does Buck though. So does Buck though in the show.
Yeah,
his own kind of ways. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna. It's close still, but I'm still gonna go with Buck. I think.
I'm gonna go with Buck. Matt.
Okay. Flash Gordon.
Really?
Me too.
I'm Flash Gordon because I do feel, even though I think Gil Gerard would try some things and they'd be interesting, and he's maybe got a little kung fu up his sleeve.
Yeah.
I just think that Flash Gordon is just an ass kicker.
Yeah.
And I think he would just go in there and it would be, you ever have a situation like this? This is one of my experiences doing martial arts because I did them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd learn all this stuff and you'd learn all these moves. And then sometimes when you'd be fighting somebody, if you just rushed them, that would be it. Like that was the thing they weren't ready for.
Really?
And so just someone just as just like this guy who's in such great shape just starts wailing on you.
Yeah,
I think that would be the thing that maybe Buck wasn't expecting. Like, oh, this guy's just kicking the shit out of me.
Rogers, yeah, it's like any of the prize fighters who have been the greats. That's what they're good at. They come in and they wail on you so fast and hard that you're just done in 2 seconds. And that's exactly what we have with Flash Gordon. Buck Rogers is not a wailer, you know?
No.
James, what do you think?
No, I go with Flash.
Flash Gordon?
All right.
But okay, the only thing I'm going to add is if it was a dance-off, Gil Gerard.
Oh, yeah.
Can we all agree there?
That's true.
For Flash,
you got to get down.
Yeah, for Flash, it was pre-disco, but I'm sure he would have hated disco.
But it's future disco.
It is future disco.
That's how it's going to be in the future.
Some things you can't fix.
Matt, I want to tell you, I love that one. That's a great one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, Dan, how about giving us another one?
Yeah. Okay. So since we're in the last one, I'm going to go straight to my favorite one, which is Alex DeLarge from The Clockwork Orange.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Versus Vic from A Boy and His Dog.
Oh, that's good. So Alex from A Clockwork Orange and Vic from A Boy and His Dog. Huh. That's good. I like that one.
That is a good one.
I like 2 of my favorite movies, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
I just watched A Boy and His Dog before I was working in the studio here, and I thought I got time for a movie, so I put that on. And I didn't realize it because I didn't really pay attention before, but it's directed by L.Q. Jones.
That's right.
Yeah, character actor.
Yeah.
A lot of people might immediately go to Alex who think, oh, he's so violent. But remember, he's normally with a gang when he's by himself. And with Vic, who is all by himself and has had to really struggle to survive.
Yeah.
So right now, I feel that it's more in Vic's corner than Alex's corner. That's what I think right now.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I think Alex is kind of craftier and smarter. He's a psychopath. And I think
he's smarter than Vic. Vic is that's the thing.
Yes.
Vic is they established that he has average intelligence. Whereas Alex,
the dog was the brains of that.
Off the charts, brilliant.
Right.
You know, he's so I think what it comes down to is it might even come down to a matter of like we talked about with the last one is one guy is definitely more brute strength and brute force and instinct than Vic, and then you have one who's a little more crafty and artful and definly on drugs. You know,
Yeah.
so
That's
Vic,
true. Yeah, no,
Vic,
that definitely is a factor.
And Vic is naive to me. I don't think he's kind of scrapping along, trying to find food and do what he can and find girls in that wasteland. But you know, he's just not that smart and not that super cunning and crafty to me.
I will say this though, Sean, I totally understand, but I also realize that Alex he needs pampering. He lives in a comfortable home, whereas Vic does not. He has really had to suffer, and I think that has made him hard. No, Alex has a home that he goes to. You know,
he's definitely
place. He has his music. He has his snake. He has those nice clothes when he goes out to buy his music. Yeah, no.
I love the snake at him.
Yeah, but I'm just
boy and a snake.
Vic, granted, he's not he's not the brightest guy in the world, but he has had to survive and he's been in very uncomfortable situations. Even if Alex is, I'm going to be conniving, I still think Vic might be able to overpower Alex.
Well, Vic has survived in that wasteland because of the dog.
Yeah,
because the dog got him through and got to find food and all that stuff. Without the dog, How
and
would
the
Vic?
dog will jump in there if he has to too.
No,
Yeah,
dog
the
can't come in there.
there.
That's true. No, the dog helps.
Yeah.
When Alex, the thing that he does that gets him caught is he goes into this woman's house and he has a fight with a woman, and he ends up hurting her bad enough to kill her. Now, whether you're looking at the movie or the book, in the movie, she attacks him with this big object. In the book, she attacks him with a big object, although it's not phallic.
Uh-huh.
And, he kind of has a little bit of trouble with her, but at the same time, he's not taking her seriously. So that's one of the biggest fights that we see where it's him with one other person.
Right.
Everything else is a gang fight. When he gets thrown in prison, what does he do? He goes and becomes a Weasley chaplain's assistant. He's not
right.
That's right.
He's not fighting anybody. If you put Vic in prison, Vic is going to kick ass all over the place until they put him in solitary.
Yes.
Yeah. For me, it's Vic.
So maybe it comes down to your survival instinct at the end of it, maybe?
Yeah. I also feel like Alex is, by nature, he's a bully. He's going to take advantage of a weaker person. And the gang fight thing is fun, but there's a lot of dirty dealing in that. And I would even bet that the rival gangs, it's more like a dance really than it is anyone really trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
It's a sport.
Yeah.
And so when it comes down to real fighting, and I love the fact, Dan, that you brought up when he gets arrested and put in prison.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah, but it's not the
tough thing to do
with a fight.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with a guy, one-on-one fight, which he would definitely. I think he would lose.
Yeah. And I think Vic, who every single day of his life, dog or no dog, is just scratching out a life for himself and fighting constantly every day for just a meal.
Okay. I can. You kind of
remember.
You convinced me.
Me too.
And also remember, Vic fights an android and kills it. So, right?
True. Yes.
Yeah. That weird android guy.
The grinning android down below.
Creepy guy.
Michael, super creepy.
Yeah,
Even Robards thinks he's creepy because when he's destroyed, he says, "Can you get another Michael out of storage and have them wipe that
the smile on his face?" Yeah.
That's great.
See, Dan, this is really good as we've gone through it methodically.
You're turning our opinion.
That is a very nice. Okay, I like that very much.
That's cool.
So, you had mentioned a psychopath. Why don't I throw out another psychopath?
Okay.
All right.
Imagine, if you will, you've got Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs from 1991, versus Professor Moriarty, played by Jared Harris in Sherlock Holmes and Game of Shadows from 2011. Now, before everyone goes, well, it's going to jump into Hannibal, it's these two brilliant guys, people who can mess up with your mind. So what do you think? Two guys in a room messing with your minds?
That's good.
Which Moriarty we talking?
Well, my first thing was the latest one that's from the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if you that one.
I didn't see him. But
he's really, really brutal, and he's physical, and he's just got this amazing mind as to how to get out of things and stuff. And he's very manipulative, very much like Hannibal Lecter. The only difference is, from what I can tell, Moriarty doesn't eat people, Hannibal Lecter does. So, and also the other thing is Moriarty is taller. Now you could say, it's funny. I just watched with my daughter Silence of the Lambs, and she loved it. And even if when Hannibal Lecter was confronted with people that were slightly taller, actually he took them by surprise, and they didn't expect him to take some handcuffs and chain him. So that took them by surprise. But he was very manipulative. But Moriarty is a brilliant guy, and he also knows how to mess your head and say things to you, just like Hannibal Lecter.
So but if it's in one room and if it's just like each other messing with each other's minds as opposed to physically fighting, I mean, Moriarty throughout his history as Sherlock Holmes' nemesis has overseen and manipulated these like huge crime projects and has done so much. And Hannibal Lecter also super manipulative, but on kind of a smaller scale, really.
Yes, Sean.
But physically fighting, I don't know. I mean, if Hannibal just goes for the Moriarty's face, take a bite out of him. I mean, that's hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah,
okay.
I think I got this. I think
Matt.
it's Hannibal Lecter. Come on.
No,
Hannibal Lecter, the thing that surprises you about him is that he can come off so, genteel and intelligent, and then tear your face off and wear it.
Yeah.
And I just think a guy like that, hands down, he's coming out of the room.
The thing is, though, he's part of the reason for his success is that he's largely unopposed. I mean, he's got the element of surprise because everyone around him, all his victims are prone to surprise. You got somebody like Moriarty who keeps Sherlock Holmes on his toes.
Yes.
And outpaces
over and over
him.
Again.
Yeah, over and over again. Well, that's a more brilliant, cunning mind, I would say, than Hannibal Lecter. I would argue for Moriarty.
That might be true, but that doesn't mean a fight in a room. Because that cunning, yes, if we're playing a long game, then yes, maybe Moriarty. But Hannibal Lecter in a room?
I still don't see Hannibal Lecter is no Buster Crabbe. I mean, he's like, all right, maybe he's vicious.
He likes crab.
Just if you guys haven't seen Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows, there's a sequence when Robert Downey Jr. character as Sherlock Holmes is thinking of how to battle Moriarty. And Moriarty is thinking the exact same thing. Physical, how you can grab someone's wrist and turn it in such a way with a thumb or something. So I understand Hannibal Lecter, like you said, he could just leap forward and try to bite Moriarty's face. But I think Moriarty would be aware that Hannibal Lecter has that kind of thing, and that's okay. Let him lunge for the face. All I have to do is grab that, turn it, and it's gonna make it.
Yeah, because Moriarty is really like an evil Sherlock Holmes. He has so much knowledge about so much stuff. He can in this situation I should do this, and he can do it.
Now I just don't know. Like I'm at a loss because this particular movie I haven't seen.
Yeah.
And so if that Moriarty is a more physical Moriarty, then yeah, maybe.
But he's not the kind of guy that goes to bite your face where Hannibal.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
would.
if he's able to do all the things, is that correct? As you were describing, where
he in his mind,
he can defeat someone in his head.
Like for example, one of the things he thinks is in his mind is Sherlock Holmes. His shoulder is injured. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go towards that shoulder. Okay. I'm going to hit that shoulder. That's going to make him go like this. And with Hannibal Lecter, we know that Hannibal Lecter was shot originally like in several places. So if you were to, let's say, touch or put your hand in the place where he was wounded, that's going to make him go down.
Right.
If you take someone's thumb and turn, my logic is Hannibal Lecter knows how to cut you up and sear your flesh, okay, or eat your brain. Moriarty, I think, has a better understanding, I think, of what the physical stuff that he can do to your hand to make you react in a certain way where he can get you and push you down or whatnot. He's not going to go for the face, but he's going to use evil mind. So I think Moriarty would win this battle.
Given this information, then I agree with you.
James?
I agree, Moriarty.
Dan?
Lecter does more than just bite people's faces off, though.
No, I know that. I know.
True.
But he plays a very long game psychological campaign against you to the point where you're at your weakest point, your most unsuspecting point, even with a cop, even when you're in a cage, and then, bam, he gets you. You could run right at him with the intention of picking his pocket. And you might even pick his pocket, but you know what? He's going to take his little knife out and he's going to cut your balls off and then disembowel at the same time that you get his wallet. You're going to be done.
If I'm in that room,
he's very cunning. He's super brilliant. He's a doctor, so he knows all of those weak points before you're even injured. He knows how to weak point you. You know what I'm saying?
But is he a fight expert?
That's the thing.
Yes, it is because he went up against Will Graham. I mean, he fucked Will Graham up so bad he put him in the hospital.
But again, I think as James brought up, these people were so unsuspecting. He was so unlike.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they were a little unprepared.
He's not going to think that Moriarty is a pushover. You know,
no, yeah, it's true.
there's going to be some banter, some back and forth, and some discussion, and they're both
There's going to be drinks before the fight.
You know? I mean, it's true that Moriarty runs all of the underworld of England, you know, which is the point for him. But I don't know. I
like this though.
But I just think coming in because of that, like coming in as one of the world's most brilliant and formidable criminal minds, he will come into the fight prepared in whatever way that is, whether it's psychological or physical. It's Moriarty.
Dan, I'm not saying it's a slam dunk.
Moriarty is very, you know, is very calculated, but he doesn't have that savagery. He doesn't have that Conan aspect to him that can push through, because I think they're both matched mentally. Mm-hmm. One has spent most of his life being a predator and being calculated and very careful, and then striking when the moment's right. Whereas the other one is basically spends a lot of time getting other people to do the dirty work for him, so he can sit back and watch it all happen. And Lecter doesn't necessarily. Lecter has done that. He has manipulated people to do things, to kill themselves, to kill others. You know. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's an amazing matchup.
Yeah, me too.
So I have to go to Hannibal, and I know more about Hannibal's character from reading books and seeing some of the seeing the movies and reading the books than I do of. I mean, I know about Moriarty, but yeah, I think one of the reasons that Moriarty lets a lot of people do his dirty work is because if he has to stand toe to toe with a guy like Lecter, I don't think he's going to make it.
See, I disagree. I think he lets people do his dirty work because he's smart, because he can make people do his dirty work.
Yeah, sure.
Why do anything if you can get somebody else to do it?
Lecter enjoys going in for the jugular and the kill. He has no fear of getting his hands or his face bloody and dirty.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
And something, it's like Matt was saying before about how some guys just barrel in there and they don't care. They don't care about, they just go in for the kill. And and it's hard to stop that once it happens. Whereas Moriarty be like, well, let me get my foil out and we can
but there's
with our swords or
one of the famous shots.
Just where he needs to stand so the giant rock can fall on his head. And I put,
But one of the I forget which Sherlock Holmes story it is. And one of the famous stories is it's like you think it's the death of Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
Like Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty are fighting on the edge of a waterfall and fall into the water. Yeah. They're fighting. I mean, it's like, So I mean, I don't know. I'm still going with Moriarty.
Yeah, me too.
But Sherlock Holmes wins that fight. Even though you think he died, didn't he win the fight? He
faked.
He lives.
He lives, but so does Moriarty, though, supposedly.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
I think that at the end of this, they would fall in love.
You know what's funny? You mentioned that Reichenbach Falls, or what
we can't all agree on this one, but I think we agree that this is a good matchup.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very much.
Okay.
You know, it's funny because Hannibal Lecter Hannibal TV show on the third season, I think, was the last season.
Right.
Yeah.
They did that ending. They did the Reichenbach Falls ending.
Really?
Remember that?
No way.
I didn't see that.
Didn't get that far.
Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter, played by the great Mads Mikkelsen, they went over a cliff. That was the end of the series.
Really? Interesting.
Wow. How about
And they had done a fourth one. You know, it probably would have survived. But,
somehow,
again, that's very Holmesy.
Totally.
Yeah, really.
Well, thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Sean?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this one I think would be a pretty good matchup, and I'm not sure again who would be the victor here. Dr. Edward Pretorius from Beyond.
Yes.
Versus the Thing. So it's Pretorius in full mutated
from the other dimension,
ever-changing form versus the Thing.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we're talking a lot of slime and appendages and weird. I mean, Pretorius was always kind of constantly mutating and changing and getting stronger, and the Thing can change into whatever. So, like, in their full mutant forms, fighting, who would win?
That's a tough one because the Thing is alive in every separate piece of it.
Every cell.
So I don't know how you even defeat that at all.
Right, but the Pretorius, if he can
go back into his dimension.
Well, if let's say we're stuck in this dimension, this room. I mean, Pretorius can, he can form a tentacle and grab. I mean, they can shapeshift both of them. They can kind of try to overcome each other, but I don't know. It's like they're very similar in makeup. I mean,
I lean towards the Thing because the Thing can just live on in a cell
as long as if it's not on fire and not frozen.
But Pretorius is also still has the human mind, right? I mean, he may be insane, but he's still.
But see but the thing as the pieces thinks as one entity. It changes into other things based. I mean, I understand that he has a mind, but I would argue that the thing has millions of different minds. Like
could Pretorius absorb it though? Like it could absorb part of the thing and make it part of him.
Yeah, but the thing could absorb Pretorius.
That's true. I know. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm kind of stuck as who would, because they could continue to shapeshift over and over again. Like, the thing could take the form of Pretorius, and like, I mean, it could be like this crazy, insane, like, I don't know.
That would be great. And you're right. There'd be a lot of ooze.
Yeah.
But I'm going with the thing.
Okay.
Me too.
I mean, I guess you're talking alien. It's extraterrestrial versus a being from another dimension. You know,
which is. It could be a stalemate in a lot of ways of like, I'm not sure who would necessarily die.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but
I don't know.
I just feel like when it comes to a battle, the thing would always come out ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, what do you think?
I mean, I can't go against the thing because that's my God.
All of ours.
It's so huge. Yeah. I mean, that creature is so huge in my, makeup of who I am. That movie just completely changed me the day I saw it.
Yeah.
I saw it in the movie theater. I saw it in the movie theater in the same afternoon. Some of my friends and I in 82, we snuck into the movies. We went and saw Star Trek Wrath of Khan. We paid for that.
Cool.
Then we snuck into The Road Warrior.
Oh my God.
Another classic.
So after Road Warrior was over, we went and snuck into The Thing. And I have to tell you, I didn't really know much about The Thing. I knew a little about the Road Warrior, but I really didn't know much about The Thing. And it just blew my mind. And I can't imagine a creature that can go up against The Thing and win with the abilities that it has at its disposal.
Yeah.
And Larry was saying it absorbs everything. So it absorbs your intelligence and your personality. And it has all these things at its beck and call, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to watch it and go, well, does it hide inside these guys until it's time to defend itself? Not necessarily, because Blair is building a spaceship and Blair is lying to them and he's deliberately throwing them off the scent and doing other things. So, I mean, he's very crafty and intelligent, but at the same time, how do you beat something can just, once it touches you, you're done. Yeah. Although the only thing I would say is that Pretorius could win somehow by just the fact that he's smart. And he understands, he's a scientist or whatever.
Yeah.
He could win, but eventually would lose because he'd already be infected. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Part of me.
He could do a Kurt Russell. He could do a McGreedy and destroy it.
But then you destroy yourself.
I don't know necessarily how the thing would behave or survive if it's brought into the dimension that Pretorius is in.
Right.
Because that's working, I'm assuming, by some different rules. So that might change. And so
Sure.
if we wanted to play around with the parameters of the fight, that could be something interesting because,
yeah, sure.
I mean, he is a creature of a separate dimension.
Yeah, you don't even know even them just making physical contact, an alien with this other dimensional being, what would happen? I mean, it could implode into like antimatter. Who knows?
Yeah, right.
It might be something hard to absorb.
Yeah. But I think I'm going to go.
I would love to see it.
Yeah.
I think we have to assume that something that can survive being frozen for 80,000 years,
True.
It's got a good track record.
It's pretty durable.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
In order to destroy the thing, it's almost like you destroy yourself, and that's not really a winning battle. So,
Yeah.
But Sean, that is a real.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's a great one. That's a challenging one.
Yeah.
Okay.
James, how about you?
All right. Well, I think one of the first matchups we went to in the very first installment of this was the classic question, Godzilla versus Gamera.
Yes.
Right.
And what I would throw out there is their arch nemesis being King Ghidorah on Godzilla's side versus Gauss on Gamera's side.
Mm-hmm.
Because my first thought was maybe Gauss versus Rodan, but that's not much of a match.
Right.
Gauss would be more matched with King Ghidorah, I think.
Well, Gauss has that deadly, slicing
laser.
ray.
Right.
But I mean, Ghidorah has 3, destructive rays too that can come at him. I mean, it's
but don't you think, Sean? Couldn't he like fling that thing and he could cut off one of the heads of Ghidorah or something?
sure.
Yes.
I mean,
that probably would happen.
but I mean, he's got to cut. But he's got to cut off all 3 quickly. Otherwise, I mean, Ghidorah could fry him with his electrical ray too.
But those electrical rays that Ghidorah has, they never really seemed all that formidable.
They kind of squiggle,
Well, not against
I'm
other-
sure, if you're on the surface of Planet X, then you might want to run Serpentine.
Against other kaiju, you're right. They're not that deadly.
They don't seem that like they hurt that much.
They kind of go all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas Gauss's laser beams are targeted.
Yeah, and they're
Focused.
sharp. It's like a sword hitting
Well,
you.
they can cut helicopters in half.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. That's. I mean, I think if Gauss got a good lucky shot, he would definitely could take off a head or 2 from Ghidorah.
Yeah, he could take 3 off at once.
or the wings
true.
off.
Yeah.
He could take the wings off, and then
Oh, that'd be pathetic. Ghidorah with no wings and he has no arms. He's just
Ghidorah does have the 3-head advantage, though. You've got three of those squiggly beams.
Could he still be flying and attacking with just one head, probably for a little bit? Yeah.
Yeah, but then it turns into like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. All right, we'll call it a draw.
Okay, and let's say this. Let's say this. Are you guys suggesting that if Gauss were to cut one head off Ghidorah, then Ghidorah's going, "Oh, I'm okay"? Don't you think he'd go, "Ow, son of a bitch"?
No, that head would go, "Ow."
Yeah. Yeah, but he's
His body. I mean, if you have a little skin tag, you cut it, you go, "Ow," you're bleeding, and for a moment you're like, "Oh, I can't, I'm dizzy" or whatever. Don't you guys think that? I mean, even if one head was cut off, Gauss could still overpower Ghidorah?
Wait a minute. What about James? Are you including the new Ghidorah from Godzilla King of the Monsters? Because doesn't that Ghidorah grow another head?
Well, yeah, I would say classic.
Let's go
Okay.
classic.
I wasn't even thinking.
Because if you were going to go there, then
Oh, well,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
Because in the new Ghidorah, he gets one of his heads knocked off, and he grows another one.
Don't be a troublemaker.
Dan, any thoughts on this one?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Gauss has that nasty laser beam thing, man. It's just it's hard to beat.
Yeah.
But if Gamera can beat Gauss, then King Ghidorah. We're talking about the original Gauss.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think King Ghidorah has any problem taking out Gauss, to be honest.
Interesting.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Well, I still stick with my original view, which is Gauss.
I second that with Matt. I think Gauss would win.
I will say that Gauss is more agile than Ghidorah, just by the fact that Ghidorah is a guy kind of tromping around in the suit, because you never really see in the film him being that agile, except when he's flying. But I still think he has to beat him. He's huge. I mean, he's enormous.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a good point, Dan. I mean, if Gamera could take out Gauss, then King Ghidorah certainly should be able to.
But Gamera had the shell to protect him.
Oh, and also it was not a pushover fight.
No.
Okay.
And that fucker can take a beating.
Oh my God.
Yeah, more than probably any other kaiju. I mean, Gamera, he bleeds in every one of his movies.
Oh my, and it's like, oh my gosh, isn't that turtle bleeding to death?
Although Gauss literally had his head handed to him by Gyron?
Oh, yeah.
That was space. That was the silver space Gauss.
Well.
Yeah, that one sucks.
But
all right. Well.
Yeah.
Well,
all right.
That's
very
still
good.
a nice one. Nice one, Jim.
All right.
All right, Matt. Why don't you bring it home here?
Okay. Well, I love the original 1979 Dawn of the Dead, George Romero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And classic. I love the character of Peter Washington, Ken Faree.
Oh, yeah.
He's a tough SWAT guy.
Yeah.
And with Roger, they fight zombies.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they're very good at it. Well, at least Peter is, for the most part. But I just wonder, when it comes to fighting zombies, now these are your classic Romero slow zombies.
Yes.
They're very effective at fighting them.
Mm-hmm.
But what if Peter had to fight the Train to Busan zombies? Crazy, fast, viral, manic, like almost unstoppable. They have some weaknesses, so you can play off those.
Yes.
But how would he react to those? Because if we think about it, in the very beginning of the film, you could tell this is starting to get to him, the whole zombie apocalypse.
Right.
And that's the beginning of the film.
May I ask a question? One question?
Yes.
Has he been through the zombie apocalypse before? Are you saying that he goes through Dawn of the Dead and now he's in a new environment where he's on the train and we got Train to Busan? Or is it just...
I want to...
You know what I'm saying, Matt?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of want to say before Dawn of the Dead because...
Oh, okay.
So he's not beaten down. He's not emotionally messed with. Because if you remember at the end of Dawn of the Dead, he's in that room and he's contemplating committing suicide. He has that gun to his head.
Right.
And he's not sure if he wants to live anymore. And he has some time to think about it as these zombies slowly come into the room and get closer to him. Now, in Train to Busan, it could be a good thing or a bad thing because you don't have time for any of that soul-searching bullshit.
Right.
No.
These motherfuckers are coming down the road and they are pissed, crazy, viral, and the only thing you can really do is just be quiet.
Yeah.
Or hide someplace where they don't see you.
Right.
And that's really your only defense. Now, my view is that he would do great. I think that Peter has the ability within him to rise to the occasion. Yes, slow zombies were a different matter. So he fought them in the way that he did in that film. But if they were fast and they were viral like they are in Train to Busan, I think he'd adapt. And I think he would come out the other end.
Matt, I actually totally agree. Think about this. This is not some guy he's an insurance salesman. He's a SWAT guy.
Yeah.
And I think what he's going to do with his rifle, he's going to feel out the situation. Oh my God. And yes, in the classic one, they are slow zombies. He dealt with that. In this one, if he was faced with fast zombies, Matt, I think he'd go, okay, I look at the situation. I got to react this way.
Yeah, I got a new plan.
I think he would be taken aback by these new, fast, vicious zombies, but he would adapt quickly because
he would adapt.
I also think, Matt, just with the slow zombies, when they take over, they fix up the mall, and they have time to try to live a normal life. In the Train to Busan, he doesn't have time to deal with that. He's not going to have, Matt, he's not going to have that moment to go, gee, maybe I should, It's just reacting, and I got to stay on my toes. I don't think he's ever going to have that moment where he goes, well, I think it should. So I really do feel that he's going to persevere through this because of he's a skilled, trained SWAT guy. Yeah.
And that's why I think that it doesn't matter. We don't need to have him be the Peter that he is at the end of the original Dawn of the Dead, because I think that just if that movie had never happened and now he's thrust in Train to Busan world, he would just switch gears.
Right.
It would be all, as you were saying, just instinctual and also using his mind and intellect. But I think he would be in that place where, hey man, I got to make decisions on a dime.
Yeah.
Get through this. There's no way I can navel gaze and figure out, do I want to live or not? No, I think survival instincts would take over and he would kick some ass.
Yeah,
I agree.
The funny thing is, if you're saying if he enters a room and there's multiple zombies, I still think he would persevere. He would.
And in this scenario, I am picturing a fight like that. I'm not picturing necessarily one zombie versus him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Matt, that's a nice one.
Dan, did you have a thought about the whole Peter Busan thing?
I've watched that movie. I've seen both movies, obviously, but it's just that fast zombie thing just really messes the whole concept up to me. I just never been okay with that fast zombie thing.
No, I totally understand.
But I still think he wins. He's trained law enforcement. He's able to adapt to the situation very quickly in the mall. He doesn't let it overwhelm him. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're moving fast or slow. It's hideous and horrible and awful. And he manages to persevere. It sounds like a 5th grade book report. But he manages to function amidst all this stuff that would drive most people insane. Let's face it. So the thing is with Train to Busan, they're on a train and they've got some buffers between them and the creatures. And really what it comes down to is that human beings are the biggest enemy in that story and how they don't work together. And everyone's for himself. And, you know, you got that one politician or whatever he is, who's screwing everybody over.
Monster of a human being.
He sees right through that stuff. He takes care of that stuff real fast. And when he does that, he's able to get control of the situation because that's his job, is to get control of the situation. And some creep who's trying to be a rabble rouser because he's just looking out for his own skin, he's going to take care of him in no time, you know? So once he does that, he has a lot more defenses at his disposal to fight these creatures and to keep people safe too, not just himself, but other people. So I think he wins.
All right. We're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, this is always so much fun to do Who Would Win. You guys,
this has been great.
Really fun. Lots of fun. What do you guys say we do a lightning round, huh?
Lightning round.
Lightning round.
So when we throw a couple together really fast, okay? So Dan, why don't you give us a couple?
Okay, so I'm going to give you two. The Crow, Brandon Lee versus Beetlejuice.
That's nice. Interesting.
Because I always forget the Crow is supernatural, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But see, so is Beetlejuice though.
Yeah.
I think that Beetlejuice has more bells and whistles and tricks up his sleeve to kind of take the Crow off guard, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the Crow, though, is more of a creature of vengeance that's more single-purposed, and that I don't think the Crow would be distracted by all the bells and whistles that Beetlejuice would have to offer. That's my
good point.
sense.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
I think I'd lean towards Beetlejuice.
Okay.
Dan?
I think a Beetlejuice, it's hard to kill a ghost. So, I mean, I don't know how the Crow is going to actually defeat him unless someone tells him he has to say his name 3 times. Other than that, I don't know how he beats him.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I was thinking more of a battle than
reality and change shape. And if he brought the Crow into his world, like he does with I can't remember the name of the family, not the Dietzes, the other family.
Oh yeah.
I feel like he's way more powerful than the Crow. Just put it that way.
Okay, that's nice. That's a good one.
It's far more powerful. Okay.
How about Dan? How about another one?
Okay, so my next one is I was going to suggest down the road you guys do a tag team, group versus group kind of thing, or tag team thing.
Sure, yeah.
That's cool.
I came up with a couple of those. Can I throw one out at you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
The Thundercats versus the Colorforms Aliens.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's cool, but
I love that.
But the Colorform Aliens, we can only extrapolate of what we think they would be like in battle because there's no movie or animated show or
that Colossus Rex. Come on.
They have the weapons too,
right?
And he's big. He's a giant chest and muscle.
But the Thundercats are pretty ferocious, though.
Yeah, they're all pretty tough.
Yeah.
As opposed to, what are you going to do with the little Martian guy?
Yeah, but he's crafty though. My favorite guy. What's it, Alpha?
See, that's the thing. We don't really know, so it's perfect for the lightning round. There's no time to debate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's it.
True. I'm going to go just by my gut, Thundercats.
I'm going with Colorform Aliens because I love those guys.
I'm with Sean. Colorform Aliens.
Yeah, same here. Colorform Aliens.
There you go. Hey.
Okay.
Hey, Dan, that's a good one. Those are good. I like those ones. Okay.
Thanks.
How about we think about the big insects? Okay. What about the insect-like arachnid from Starship Troopers from 1997 versus the bat, rat, spider, crab creature from Angry Red Planet?
Ooh, that's a good one.
And so you think, and now if you guys remember that bat, rat, spider, crab creature, granted it's a low-budget film and it was kind of a marionette thing, but it had those giant claws.
Yeah, it's huge too.
And it's massive. And then you have those very fast arachnid type creatures from Starship Troopers. I mean, they're fast, they're badass, they can have that big pointy mouth thing. And so what do you guys think about that?
Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Because that bat rat creature thing is very, very scary, but I don't know how quick and agile it is. It was taken out pretty easily by the astronauts in the movie. They shoot it in the eyes. I think that Starship Troopers creature would just be like scurry up to that thing and just go for its face.
Tear it to pieces. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be over. Like, you know.
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay.
There's just so many. So are you going one-on-one or?
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
Let's do
army of
one-on-one.
them?
No, just
One-on-one.
one-on-one. Just one-on-one. I mean, Sean brings
Hey,
a good
guys.
point. Yes.
The arachnids are so tough.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know.
Big time.
You know. By the way, that movie is so much fun.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
It's one of those
You
films
know,
that I've grown to like more over time.
Yeah, me
When I
too.
first saw it, I'm like, but
Great social satire.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So how about this? What about the Emir from 20 Million Miles
Yeah.
on Earth
Ooh.
versus the Cyclops from Seventh Voyage of Sinbad?
Oh,
Two
that's
Harry
a good.
Houdini figures.
That's a good match.
Yeah,
Now-
that's a good match.
Now, before everyone goes, well, the Cyclops, the Cyclops has only one eye. Only one eye.
Hence, it's called a Cyclops.
No depth perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think the Emir, and he's
Emir.
got a tail.
Tougher.
Emir. Also,
Well,
yeah,
that means
it's
he
got
has
tough hide.
It means he has no depth perception.
So
Sure.
are we all in agree? The Emir?
Yeah, I think so.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Great. Sean, how about you?
Okay, how about R2D2 versus a Dalek?
Oh.
Oh, this is kind of out of my league.
Well, and I would have to
question.
say, as the Doctor Who fan here,
Yeah.
which Dalek?
I guess, well, I would say the Dalek that does include flight because R2D2 eventually find out can fly as well. So I would say the slightly later Dalek, as in the later seasons of Doctor Who, because we can see it can actually fly. Hover.
As much as I love the Daleks
Mhm.
more than R2D2, I would go with R2D2 because I think that R2D2,
No.
yes, I think R2D2 is a little smarter than they are.
Mhm.
And the Daleks have that strong blaster ray gun,
Yeah.
but R2D2 is able to, I think, outmaneuver and outthink them.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the Daleks, even though they're such a warmongering species, and they want to just exterminate and kill, but I think they're not super smart all the time.
No,
In-
especially
in
the
battle.
foot soldiers.
Yeah.
Your regular Dalek.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think R2D2 is a little more clever.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think you're right.
Got another one, Sean? Another one?
Yeah. Okay. How about Bigfoot versus Trog?
Oh, which Bigfoot?
Well, your classic Bigfoot.
From $6 Million Man Bigfoot? Or are we talking?
Well, that's an android, right?
No, I'm talking about the real book. The real book Bigfoot that exists in real life
The
now.
real life one. Yeah.
like from Harry and the Hendersons.
No. I'm talking about from the Patterson film from the 60s or 70s that you see Bigfoot.
So a bunch of kids dressed up in a costume? Like, which?
No, that was not a bunch of kids dressed up.
Now, there's been lots of incarnations of Bigfoot in movies where he's much more vicious and much more of a killer.
Yes.
But think of just that hominid, large creature versus Trog, who is basically kind of like a caveman, but partly
Yes.
kind of like a Bigfoot.
Yes.
Yeah, Bigfoot.
I'm going to go with Bigfoot, and my logic is size. Bigfoot. I mean, Bigfoot's
Right.
not an idiot. Bigfoot's been able to, hide from humans for ages. And Trog, he's not really a Neanderthal. He is that missing link. Not
He's a
really
pretty vicious fighter, though. He can kill pretty.
He is vicious, but he's not very big. I really think that Bigfoot would overpower Trog.
I agree.
Okay, I can see that. Yep.
But nice one, Sean. Nice one.
Yeah.
James, how about you?
If I can step out into the crime genre for a second,
No, you can't.
please. Michael Corleone versus
What podcast is this?
Okay, go ahead. All right, Michael
Go ahead,
Corleone
go ahead,
versus
go
better. The second one better be good.
Versus Tweaky.
Okay. You know what? I will throw that one out.
No.
What was it going to be? I'm just curious now.
I want to know.
Michael
no.
Corleone
Versus
It's
George
out.
Washington? Like what?
It's out. It's out. It's out.
Was
Let me
it-
start over.
Bro, is it a scent of a woman? Is it from that Al Pacino character?
Let me start over.
Just the scent.
Okay, I only got one.
Okay, that's fine.
The Hey Kool-Aid pitcher
Oh, here we go.
Versus-
Now we're back.
I love it. I love it.
versus the Hawaiian Punch guy.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
But it's easy, though.
What?
Well,
What?
Is it?
No,
Yeah.
no.
It's
How
the
so?
Kool-Aid
How is it
pitcher.
easy? He's a freaking pitcher.
Yeah.
But he's
Yes,
got
but
girth.
But he can smash through cement brick walls without being even a crack.
Yeah. I'm
punching
assuming
guy
that if
gonna
he, right. Thank you, Sean. If he can go through a wall, then the Hawaiian Punch guy is just going to break his hand.
Yeah, how about a nice Hawaiian? Oh!
I'm crippled forever.
Yeah, exactly. You just stomp on him.
You
Kool-Aid
know
pitcher's
what?
going to stomp on him, or he's going to take him, put him inside of him, and drown him.
You guys.
Oh, I like
bring up
that. I like that death.
No. The Kool-Aid man would never do that. He would never.
He
Yes, he would,
destroys,
if it was
he
his life.
destroys people's homes.
If his life depended on it.
Yeah, he just smashes through walls willy-nilly. He doesn't worry about the property damage he does.
James, what do you think? What do you think?
Dan?
Or Dan?
You mean between those two guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, the Kool-Aid. Well, the Kool-Aid, okay, hold on a second. The Kool-Aid pitcher is a big, clumsy juggernaut, and the Hawaiian Punch guy is a wiry little, pugilist. So, I mean, he could probably dance around the Kool-Aid pitcher, and if he doesn't get his hands on him, because his hands can't do anything, because they're out of his sides. They're completely useless.
Yeah. He's going to squash him. He's going to squash him and then go, oh, yeah.
He's going to fill.
He'd spin around, and then he'd probably just lead him, off of. I mean, he's in Hawaii, so there's lots of cliffs in Hawaii, and there's lots of volcanoes.
Now,
For him to
they're in a room in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So
In a
the
room that is in
Kool-Aid pitcher
all he has to break
fills
through
the
a wall.
room with Kool-Aid, thus drowning him.
Are they in a hotel room?
No.
Maybe.
They're in a
Is it a
hotel
view?
room in Hawaii, and the hotel room is actually in a volcano.
So what floor is the hotel room on?
It's on the 8th floor.
Oh, the Hawaiian
mezzanine.
Punch guy wins. He's gonna win.
Okay.
James, I have to. I
right,
love
this.
That was wonderful, James.
That was great.
Okay, cool.
That was
All right.
Yeah.
Matt, why don't you bring us home here?
Okay, this is one that I thought would be a little bit of fun. Abbott and Costello
Okay.
meet Reagan from The Exorcist.
Oh.
Check.
Oh no!
Well, yeah.
He
Okay,
just
Someone
slid up to-
Come on, get it together.
Okay, you bring up an interesting point. Okay, first of all, Reagan does have some super strength because she smacks her mom, and then she has the cross, and so I
But
think
Lou can take it because he's been living with Bud for all those years.
Yeah.
yeah.
So he knows he's been smacked around quite a bit. So
Yeah.
it's nothing to be thrown up against a wall.
Do you think they would overpower Reagan?
No, but through their own stupid antics,
Yeah.
she would fall on a crucifix or something, and that'd be it.
Yeah. Now, Bud would set up Lou to like fight her, and then somehow Lou would make her trip, and she would fall out the window and go down the stairs.
You know what? You are absolutely right.
Yep.
They would prevail.
That Abbott and Costello would win that one. You're genius.
But then the Bowery Boys would come in and wipe the plane.
It's a series, yeah. Okay, and then the last one here.
Give us one
Just
more, man.
out of tradition, we have to do this. And that is
I know what you're going to do.
a tremor, the graboid,
Yes, the graboid.
versus a lepus.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Not
No.
the
Knight of the
Lepus.
lepus.
I don't know, because they hop, so they could jump.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They could try to, the graboids will try to get him from the ground, but the bunnies just hop.
Yeah. And all they got to do is and I'm sure to a giant rabbit, those things look like some sort of root. And so it would just be like, hey, look at that carrot seems to be moving quite quickly.
Yeah.
And they just go for it and those, because rabbits do have some sharp teeth.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, they tear apart and gore all the townspepeople in light of the Lepus. Yeah.
So I think it would be the Lepus.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to go with the Lepus.
Yeah. Always go with the Lepus.
I mean, after seeing Watership Down or reading Watership Down, you can never discount the rabbit.
Thank you.
Yeah, true.
Yep.
Well, we've learned a great deal tonight.
Yes, we have. This is great. Dan, you're a natural.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
We might have to have you back for the next round of this.
Yes.
I mean, you brought up some really great matchups, man.
Yeah, terrific.
Can
Inspired.
I just have one? Can I just have one more?
Sure.
Sure.
Please.
One more. Okay. Since you brought up that the Kool-Aid one, I thought, okay, I have to. All right. So Blackula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The king of cartoons.
Oh.
That's great.
Now,
well, I would say Blackula, unless the king of cartoons just charms him so much and gets him distracted and makes him watch cartoons.
Now,
what if the king of cartoons plays a Christian cartoon?
You bring up a good point. For listeners who are not familiar, the king of cartoons is played by the same gentleman who was
William Marshall.
William Marshall on the Pee-wee's Playhouse. And
he played cartoons. He had a little projector he would bring out, and he
Yes.
had cartoons.
And you bring up a really good point. If he showed a religious cartoon, whether it be like Davy and Goliath and they're showing a cross or something, it wouldn't kill Blackula, though.
He wouldn't like it.
It would distract him. And then
Certainly wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I don't know that his crown doesn't have a cross on it to begin with somewhere on there.
So, if he wore a silver crown, right? Because vampires still don't like silver as well, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
Depending on which version.
Yeah, it's true. If he's wearing a silver crown, I don't know. I think it's gold, but
it's probably gold.
Yeah. So that actually wasn't my first Blackula matchup. My original Blackula matchup was Blackula versus Maximilian from Vampire in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. That's a good one. I actually had Blackula versus Count Yorga.
Yeah, that is a good one.
That's a more balanced matchup.
That should have happened.
Yes, it should have. It was done the same era, same time. They totally could have done that.
Yeah. That's the film I wish they had made.
Yeah.
Oh, Blackula wins easily.
So what do you think, Larry? Do you think this has been great?
This really has been great. Yes.
And do you think we could go on and on?
We could go on and on quite easily. Dan, thank you so much for being with us. Now, is there anything you're working on? Or?
Yeah, what are you working on? Do you want to please plug something and say it slowly so we get all of it?
Okay. I'm currently doing artwork for my Patreon patron rewards and my GIANTKILLER hardcover rewards. Last year, we funded a 20th anniversary oversized hardcover of my GIANTKILLER comic. The book's at the printer, and I should be getting them in June. And after the Kickstarter backers, once they get their copies, whatever's left over, I'll be offering probably through Facebook and things like that. But
Fantastic.
If you don't know, GIANTKILLER was my 1999 giant monster, Daikaiju invasion of the Bay Area comic.
Oh,
cool.
Nice.
It's my love letter to kaiju films. And the new book has a 10-page epilogue scene. I did extra and I added more monsters to the field guide. It was just a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And also I have at some point, probably over the summer, I think there's an anthology title that Marvel's putting out called Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was curated by Alex Ross. And the issue that I did my story in was supposed to come out in April. I don't know when it's coming out, sometime this year, but I got to do an X-Men story that I wrote that takes place the day after the events of Giant Size X-Men #1.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of fun to do.
Cool.
But I'm keeping very busy.
If someone wanted to see samples of your work, is there a place, is there a website? That people...
I'm all over Facebook. I have several pages on Facebook. I have a public page. I have a private page on Facebook. There's I have an Instagram page where I only put up artwork. Those are probably the main places. I have a website, nocturnals.com, but I think I get a lot more traffic to Facebook and Instagram.
Sure.
For sure. And I have a Patreon page for people who not only want to see what I'm doing in the studio that you can't see in the public eye. Like when I'm working on a cover for a company, they don't want me to show the cover when I finish it. They want to unveil. But my Patreon people can see things. Like, for instance, one of the things that the Patreon people got to see or get to see is an inventory story I did for DC for Birds of Prey. It was one of those kind of a weird thing where there was editorial change and costume changes. And then for one reason or another, they ended up not publishing it and they sent it back to me. And that was back in 2002, 2003. Mm-hmm. And because I have a Patreon, those people got to see that whole story.
Sweet.
They work for the story. And because I really can't show it in its entirety anyplace else. So it's been a pretty cool thing, showing work in progress and interviews and just anything I can think of to bring people into the studio and see what I'm up to.
I'm one of your biggest fans, just to let you know. Been a fan of yours ever since I first saw your work, and nothing has changed. I am deeply in love with you.
And Dan, thanks again for being with us and participating in Who Would Win Volume 5.
Yeah, totally, man.
I would like to raise my glass. And
let's all raise our glasses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dan Brereton.
Dan.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out. Shout out. Shout out.
We want to do shout outs to two of our longtime listeners and friends who have recently been on podcasts. One of them, Angela McNichols from Chicago.
Ooh. All right.
Who is now the co-host of the Horror Basement podcast.
Yeah.
Cool. Angela, that is very exciting. Congratulations.
Yes, that's awesome.
Congratulations, yeah.
We look forward to hearing that.
Yeah.
Also, Adam G. Holtz from New Hampshire, who was recently a guest on the Big Ones podcast, an episode called Godzilla Returns.
Awesome.
So, Adam, congrats on that. I'm sure it was a
congratulations,
lot of fun.
buddy.
We look forward to listening to that. Also to longtime listener Jim Damon and his new podcast, Jim.
Yeah.
Everything Movies. Let's all go to the lobby. Jim's own podcast. So congratulations on that, Jim.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Now, our new Monster Party glow-in-the-dark T-shirts are now available on eBay and through Facebook. And Matt, I understand we've gotten quite a response.
Oh my God, have we ever? I mean, we have gotten a number of orders since these things have went up. And by the way, I mean, these T-shirts are great. They're glow in the dark. And I wasn't sure how they were going to come out. But when I finally got the box of the shirts and saw the glow effect, what's great is that you see the logo, the Monster Party logo, but then the outline of the logo is what glows. So it's really neat.
Nice.
That's cool.
Nice. So that's what you would call a glowing review?
A glowing review? Yes. Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop, Jane. Please. But we've gotten a lot of purchases, and I would just like to read off the names of the people who have bought T-shirts.
Cool.
Please.
Charles Babbage, Cayman Unterborn, John Abarca, Mark Freisner, James Kinnison, Tony Brooks, Angela McNichols, Charlie Bonomo, Edward Baker, Brian Jennings, Clint Osborne, Henry Gonzalez, Scott Porter, Jim Jenkins, Rich Hurley, Eric Skull, and Matt Dakota.
Hey.
So many friends there.
Awesome.
And
wear the shirts with pride.
Yeah, and we are so thankful that you guys picked these up. We like the shirts as well. We think you're going to enjoy them. And what we really appreciate is you supporting us.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Totally.
Just to let you know, our shirts and caps, we also have a limited stock of caps now. The T-shirts and the caps are $20 a piece. And for now, you get free domestic shipping included. How do you like that?
Wait, we're doing free shipping?
Free shipping.
That's a deal.
We are so wonderful, Larry.
We are.
Yes. And if you happen to be a Monster Party Patreon patron, you will receive with your order extra thank you gifts donated by Jason Lindsay and Biff Bang Pow Toys and Collectibles.
Come
on, right?
Love them. Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable deal. So that is what we got. But to be part of this special deal through Patreon, you might want to become a Monster Party Patreon patron.
Oh, yes.
And so
how does one, I was just about to ask, how does one do that, Matt?
All you got to do is just go to patreon.com, go to Monster Party, click the join button, and follow the instructions. It's only $5 a month.
Oh, I spend more on gum every month.
You spend less on clothes. Come on.
Well, come on, you know.
And with that $5, you will get bonus audio, video, and maybe some more perks like we're offering with the t-shirts. And by the way, Eric Skull, who was just mentioned, is our new Patreon patron.
Hey, Eric.
Welcome
Thanks,
aboard, Eric.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard the Monster Party train.
Woohoo! Once again, we're very happy and proud and thankful that you guys are supporting us, and we will do our best through this crazy time to, live up to the standards that we have set, if there are any.
Yes.
We have high standards.
We do,
right.
yes.
Okay.
Come on.
well,
Don't give me that
I'll go along
crap.
with that. I'll go along with that.
And let's remind our listeners, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube at Monster Party TV, our Twitter handle at Monster Party HQ, Instagram also Monster Party HQ, and whatever platform you're listening to us on, please take a moment and post a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and we will read it on the air.
On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
Play your own game of who would win.
How about a nice Hawaiian punch?
Oh, yeah. Kool-Aid's here. This is volume 5, by the way.
That's right.
Amazing.
That's it.
Volume 5, A New Beginning.
Oh,
Or Volume
Could be.
5. Volume
It
5.
very well could be.
Dream Child. Or Volume 5, In the Hood. Or
No.
Volume 5, Ravager. It's
No,
all those and
no,
more.
No, your first one was the best.
Yeah. Okay.
Was it A New Beginning?
Yeah. That's from Friday the 13th. It's Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning.
See, that's
Nightmare on
genius,
Elm
Shawn.
Street, Part 5, Dream Child.
Nah, that's
Leprechaun 5, In the Hood. Phantasm 5, Ravager. I can't think of any other ones. But
good.
that's
No,
okay.
A New Beginning is fantastic.
Oh, Death Wish 5, Face of Death.
Wow.
Have you guys
Wow.
seen that?
Death Wish 6.
Still
I
alive.
wish I was dead.
Yes. I just recently watched all of them except for the last one I haven't seen yet, but those are hilarious movies, though. They get more and more ridiculous. The first one's like a classic downbeat 70s movie, but the sequels, all done in the 80s by Canon, are hilarious. There's no sense of reality at all to them.
Yeah. I would argue that the joke starts to wear off.
Kind of, but if you're in the right mood, though, watching it's
Yeah,
like
but that's your
Charles
disclaimer.
Bronson.
If you're in the
I
right
know.
mood for
That's
watching
right.
something that's
Charles
horrible.
Bronson, like 80-year-old Charles Bronson, like walking down the street shooting people. That's
My
fine
dad
for five movies.
loves those movies. My
Yes.
dad takes those movies
Yeah.
seriously.
I think it was the Canon Films documentary, Electric Boogaloo, the history of Canon. There's a great quote from Alex Winter, who was like, he played like a thug gang guy in like, I think part 3 maybe.
Right.
He described it the best way. He said, watching Charles Bronson act in those movies at that age, it was like watching somebody golf. He was like, he had like a trailer, like maybe a block away from the set. And when it was time, a limo would pick him up from the trailer and drive him a block or less to the spot where he's supposed to stand. And he would say his line, shoot a gun, then go back, be driven back to his trailer. And I was like,
Wow.
That's what hey, if I could spend my old age like that,
Totally,
that's what I do.
I know.
But
Drive
Shawn,
me to a place where I can shoot a punk.
but I'll tell you, if you had who would win, Larry Strothe, age 55, versus 81-year-old Charles Bronson, who's like just a day away from death. He'd still
He could snap your neck with his gums.
as he with his
look. Just a look.
figure.
Yeah,
He could kick
his
my
hip
ass.
would fall on you, and your hip would break.
No, he would stun you into submission with his incredibly wooden acting.
Oh hell!
You'd be in disbelief.
See, but if you look at young Charles Bronson, he was great in a lot of movies.
Oh my!
He was
God.
like, you know what? He's like one of those guys, like Eastwood, who knew the thing that he was good at, and that's
exactly.
What he
Right.
Yeah.
And you look at
Hey, we got Dan joining.
That's fair.
Oh my God, there he
Hey,
is.
there he is.
All
Look
right.
at that. Who's that
Come on.
handsome man? Oh my God. Nice shirt.
We've got time.
Here, and then my kids started playing guitar. So
Fantastic.
that's what they're doing.
That's what the kids do. They start the bands and then they're with the rock and roll
That's right.
and the girls. If you're
Oh
lucky.
yeah, that's pretty much happening with the 14-year-old, and 9-year-old is just practicing guitar, and he's actually doing really well.
I have no doubt. He comes from
Cool.
good stock.
I have zero musical ability. I used to sing when I was a kid. That was about it.
Yeah, but
So,
you have the artistic soul within you that exudes from your
You should-
seed.
too much light
I'm
here.
sorry I said seed.
Okay, you can say seed.
Is it a demon seed?
Issuing from my loin?
Your loin.
Is that
Loin
better?
sounds dirtier.
So okay, guys, let me. How's that? Is
Get
that
it? Get it all worked out.
Yeah.
got my cocaine?
And then we'll do the official
Is that
Nice.
Ghost
introductions.
Yeah.
Rider?
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
Dan, what did you think of the film?
I haven't seen either one of them.
Was that a choice? Did you go?
Yeah, yeah, that was a choice. I don't know. I remember seeing the trailer for the first one, and I think I tried watching it once, and it just really,
Nah, it's terrible.
you know,
Which one? What you talking about?
Just the Ghost.
The first
Nick
one.
Cage.
I tried. I like Luke. Don't get me wrong.
We all love Nick Cage. We're all rooting
Oh,
for
I haven't
Nick
seen any of
Cage.
those.
I root for him every time he's on
Me
screen.
too.
I
haven't started.
well, remember him in Rumblefish? He was good in that.
He's
He's
great. He's a really great actor. But that movie, when he's got the glass of candy that he's swigging, I was
Yeah.
like, whose idea was this?
Yeah.
Oh man! Oh
I'm-
no! It's a film for no one.
I know nothing. I know nothing about it.
It's sad because he is a comic book fan, and you would
Yes, he
think
is.
he would want to be as true to the comic. As
Have you ever met him,
possible.
Dan?
No, I haven't. But yeah, I've heard that. Obviously, he's a huge comic book fan, and he had the big collection. He was forced to
Massive.
sell ever.
Yes.
Hey, before we go on much farther
Mhm.
here,
Yeah.
I want to formally introduce my cohorts. We got Larry Strothe
Okay.
in the Larry Strothe box, Shawn Sheridan,
Hey there.
and then there's James. We don't know his last name, but
It starts with a G.
it's James Gonis. But
It's
he
right.
likes to be enigmatic.
It rhymes with
Go. What does it rhyme with?
Bonus.
Bonus. All right.
That's
Okay.
it.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice save. And then, of course, Dan. Dan has been a friend of mine. Jesus Christ, for ages.
You look
Yeah.
familiar, Dan. I'm sure if I met at some
I'm sure you
convention
bumped into him at
or
Comic-Con.
Matt's
He's there
house.
every year.
I went to San Diego 30 years straight, from 1988 until just a few years ago.
Wow.
I realized that I was like, wow, I think next year, this would have been 2018. I think next year will be 31 years. I think I'll celebrate by not going. And it was great. It was really.
What'd you do? What'd you do?
Really, so it's been two years that I haven't gone. It will be
Really?
3 now. Yeah, and listen, I was a trooper, but it's just changed so much that especially
Yeah,
for
it's a different animal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
different every year. I gotta say, I mean, we've had this argument a number of times before, but I think we all like just the fact that there's that many people into all this stuff in one place. If I had to live like that for a month, like imagine if like home quarantine, you got quarantined at Comic-Con, like that.
Yeah.
Like, you want to kill yourself, right? Yeah, it'd be the
Or
end of civilization.
Yeah, or you kill other people.
It'd be battle royale.
Yeah.
I used to think it was kind of cool that like halfway through I'd be like, wow, there's still 2 days left. This is great. I mean, but but that was a certain time. That was, we're talking about 1988 until 2018.
Sure.
A lot has changed. And I mean, the first time I went home a day early, and I was going to the academy in San Francisco, and I went with a couple of my friends that were, into comics. And I had done a small penciling job for Eclipse. It was a backup story I was penciling. And actually Kurt Busiek, a young Kurt Busiek, was the author of it.
Good man.
So I turned in, I think it was 4 6-page stories or something like that. I turned them in. I went to Comic-Con. I was at the Eclipse booth, and there was an editor there named Fred Burke who would go on to do a lot of editing with the Clive Barker stuff. And he was in my corner. And I said, well, what did Kat and Dean, the publisher and the editor of Eclipse Comics, what did they think of what I did? Because no one said anything to me about it. He goes, well, to be honest, they were, quote, mildly unimpressed. And I said, wow, okay. Trying to make that into a good thing somehow.
Yeah, mildly.
Mildly unimpressed.
We weren't grossly unimpressed.
Actually, it was a huge blow. And at the same day, I think or the next day, I was in the artist alley walking around, and I didn't even have a table or anything like that. I wasn't even supposed to be hanging out at the Eclipse booth, but I was. So for a little bit. So I walked around and I met Kent Williams, George Pratt, Dave McKean, John Muth. They were all doing painted comics. And I realized they were doing what I really wanted to be doing, And so, but I didn't get that quite. I didn't get the shot in the arm of yeah, that's what I'll do. I was like, oh, I suck. I'm the worst. I'll never make it in this business. So my friends all went the next morning. My friends all went in the hotel room to go to the show. And I got an early flight home. I didn't even tell them I was leaving. And the following semester back at art school, one of our teachers, Kazu Sano, who was, he actually painted the Return of the Jedi movie poster.
Oh, wow.
He actually did 2 of them. He did quite a few movie posters and book covers. He was a great teacher, and he was very cool. Well, he had us do this semester project where we could do anything we want. So I thought, well, you know what? They've been talking about this. Fred, this editor, had been talking about this character, the Black Terror, this Golden Age character they wanted to bring back. And so I thought, I'll just do something with this character. I'll kind of revamp him and do something with him fighting vampires just for fun. So by the time Christmas came around that same year, I had 7 pages done. I showed them to Fred. He showed them the Eclipse, and they hired me right away. They said, get started.
Wow.
So it was really weird. To go from zero to...
Yeah. Well, but you know what? This teaches me a lesson that I've learned all the way through my life, which is never listen to anybody, because people are full of shit. And
do what you love too.
And I'm not saying there are some great teachers out there, but I swear to God, almost every acting teacher I've gone to has been just a monster.
They're nasty and bitter. And what's funny? I mean, I don't want to contradict your experience because I'm sure that you're right. But at the academy,
there are exceptions,
Well, we had Drew Struzan teaching one semester. I didn't take his class, but
wow,
flew in once a week. He taught once a week. They paid for him to come. But at that point in time, there were only a few teachers that had sort of said, "Oh, you want to do comics? That's cool." Most of them had said, "Why?" And it sort of, they had, and in my other art school I'd gone to before in Oakland, which is much more arts and crafts and more fine arts oriented, even though there was an illustration department. They were like, well, why don't you just put the comic book stuff aside and focus on drawing and painting and composition and illustration and just, kind of learning all your skills. And I was like, okay, I can do that to a certain degree. And so, I still was a huge comics fan and everything, but I just threw myself into the idea of being an illustrator and in discovering things like, working in film and book covers and movie posters and concept designs and things like that, children's book illustration, kind of threw myself into that. But I eventually came back around to comics because that was where it was at. And I brought in people from my classes with me. There were quite a few people who I ended up helping to get work in comics, and they got themselves work too because their work was strong. But not everybody stuck with it. Not everybody.
Right.
Matt, you remember John Estes, right?
Sure. I still talk to John Estes.
Yeah. So John, he got he kind of cruised out of comics, probably mid '90s, and then got into working in the gaming industry, video game industry. And I guess he's doing really well there.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Yeah. So, I mean, more power to him. He's probably doing a hell of a lot better than people in comics who, I think, it's a struggle. I was struggling for over a decade. And then I discovered Kickstarter and the fact that when you have a built up a fan base, you don't necessarily have to wait for an editor or a publisher to like what you want to do, to spend money on it, to hire you to do it before you can actually make it happen. You can
cut out the middleman.
Yeah, cut out the middleman, and that's been like huge for me. So,
as you know, I've always been a fan of your work.
I thought you were going to say you're always a fan of the middleman.
Well, I am the middleman. I'm the shortest of our group.
I think you're the middle lord. I think you're the middle lord. I mean, to be honest, I give you way more credit than that. Also, I'm
one step above a borrower.
You guys are a very interesting dynamic of people. It's really impressive to me. You are.
We are.
You have stuck together over how many episodes? 150 something.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Over 170 episodes.
What gang of gentlemen has 150 podcasts under its belt?
That's good and entertaining.
Well, that's good, yeah.
And you're all clean shaven. I noticed.
I just shaved today.
Well, yeah, you know,
all this is going on. No one has a COVID beard. No one has a quarantine beard.
See, I can't. I used to have the beard, and I can't do it. I can't do it.
The Riker?
I had that for a while, and I did not like it. It was one of those things where I had the beard for I think a couple of years, and I thought people liked it, and then I got rid of it, and like everybody went, "Oh, I always hated the beard." See, you know,
I never saw you with it, so
well, you
it's been a long
lucked
time.
out.
The yawning abyss of years in between.
You know what? When I think of you, Dan, I always think of, so we would hang out. You know, it was like Derek Robertson.
Yep.
It was John. It was Jeff Johnson.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Sure. I put you guys all in the Psycho.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I remember we're hanging out one night at our place in San Francisco, and you're there, and you're like, and I got all these videos, and you say, "Let's watch a scary movie." It's like, what do I got? And I wanted to show you something that was maybe not necessarily something that you have already seen.
Sure.
Maybe a little more of a classic.
You want to turn me on?
Yeah. And so I brought out The Innocents. You remember that?
No.
Yeah, and we sat around, we watched The Innocents, and it was great because like everybody in that room responded to it in the way that you would hope someone would. Like, it's so creepy, and especially like you, Dan, coming from an art background, like the composition of those shots in that movie,
beautiful.
I have to watch that again now.
Yeah,
it's been a really long time.
It's so beautiful.
It's one of my favorite ghost stories, certainly ever.
Well, Turn of the Screw, right?
Turn of the Screw, right? Yeah, Henry James. Yeah.
I mean, how many times has it been made in different ways? You know?
Yeah, it's made several times.
Just recently, it was remade, and my daughter, she's now 15. She saw the original, loved it, and at the end of this new one, she wanted to see it because the boy in it was from It, or Stranger Things.
Yeah.
And that was like the big selling point. Well, the way the film ends, it's so awkward because it feels like it's not a real ending. It's almost like, is there like a part 2? And it didn't need to be a part 2. And it's like, my daughter at the end, she looks at me and goes, "Is that it?" And I'm going to go,
Is that all
I think they ran out of money. And it's just horrible.
So it's not like the original where in the original film, you kind of go back and forth between like, is she crazy, or is this really happening?
You don't even get to that point, Matt. And then the other thing is the boy in it. He's really a sharp kid for a young kid, and that's kind of weird too. Well, here you have the kid. He's like 15 or 16 years old. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it should be younger, right?
And it should be younger. It has to be younger. It's way creepier if it's that pre-pubescent thing.
Right.
Yeah, but also that beautiful Gothic house.
Because also the kid was corrupted by these
that guy.
by these two ghosts, and then the caretaker and the handyman or whatever.
The handyman villain in all the stories, Quint.
Yes, Quint.
Right.
And Quint, that's the scary part, and the way that they portray it too, where you are listening to like, oh, they saw things they should have never seen. And just that alone in that weird black and white, beautiful cinema is so creepy. Like, I don't even want to know what they saw.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think, can you imagine at the time how that affected people?
Yeah. So
time?
lurid,
What did you think about the Marlon Brando version?
You know, that movie, that movie, obviously it's nothing like The Innocents, but I don't.
It's very different.
It's not bad though. And
I don't hate it.
Yeah, it's kind of.
It's not entirely successful though.
No, but it's watchable though.
He made some interesting choices in his career.
Always.
Yeah.
Did you, so the next question would be obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but I mean, what about the others?
Oh, I like that movie.
I love that movie.
I like that movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's a really interesting take on a ghost story.
Yeah.
There's some good twists and turns that I did not expect.
Yeah, good twists. It's funny how some movies, if I've seen them and I know the twist, the crazy twist at the end, I kind of am less inclined to watch them again. But then there's other ones where I can't help but watch them over and over again, even though I know exactly how they end. You know, it's And sometimes I think that really is less to do with the end and more to do with the journey that the film took you on. I've been talking about the movie Dragon Slayer a lot with some people.
That's an underrated movie.
I text James O'Barr, the creator of The Crow, and Tim Bradstreet, the creator of the Vampire the Masquerade Vampires, who did all the Punisher covers and with Tom Jane as his model and stuff. And we're a little text group and we talk about movies all the time. These guys are huge walking IMDb movie buffs, and not just genre too. They like, they like
everything,
stuff, but not just horror and sci-fi. We talk about crime movies and, Robert Mitchum, whatever. And we were talking about Dragon Slayer, and I guess Joe Linsner on a Facebook post where I talked again about Dragon Slayer was saying that he didn't like Peter McNichol. He thinks he's the weak link in the chain and all this stuff. And I used to kind of think that too, but I just watched it 2 times in the last week. I went with my kids, and I kind of get him now, and I can watch that movie. I've been able to watch that movie over the years over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's just one of the many movies I can do that with. Like The Thing is another, like my top,
Well, we're all on board with that.
Yeah, Blade Runner.
So, what, the movie Fame?
And
The Thing, right?
The Thing.
Oh, The Thing. I thought you said Fame.
Oh my God, I can watch Fame over and over.
No.
What's the Coco scene? What's the Coco scene with the camera?
Oh, guys, that brought a tear to my eye. That's so harsh.
I played in slow motion, but pretend I'm the casting director.
I've watched Fame several times over the years. I like that movie. I hate that scene. The Trejo Lee Coco scene really it never fails to really just get me.
It's tough. It's a tough scene.
It is absurd though, because
no,
sorry.
It's not absurd.
So I don't remember the big market for woman standing in front of a camera with her top down crying.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
Yeah.
You mean
that must have been a really deep, eyes wide shut crew.
Well, what was the message there was be careful about where you send your daughters off to when they say they want to be famous. Be careful, because here's the pitfall, the major pitfall that they could very well stumble into when they just get off the bus in LA. You know what I mean?
See, I thought the message was there's no crying in porn.
Well, unless you're into that kind of thing.
Yes, unless it's
cry porn. No, now it's coming in.
Now it's shit.
Is it?
No.
Is it?
Look, there are all kinds of.
I self-produce.
Okay,
let's all talk. I can't have sex without crying now, as my wife will attest.
We should kind of start going though.
Let's start the episode on that note.
Long list.
So what is the show now? It's a crying and horror and sci-fi, right?
No.
Best crying porn scenes.
5. Okay. New beginning.
Okay, so we got
and Dan, you know how you've listened to the show before. You know how it starts out, right?
I actually have. I've been trying to keep up, so I'm not that far along where I've heard one of these yet. So I'm new to this whole thing.
Oh, okay. So bear with me here. Okay. So basically, what's gonna happen is Matt is gonna introduce the show. We introduce ourselves, and then we're gonna say what the topic is. Then we're gonna say who's our guest. Matt's gonna give some nice introduction.
Okay.
And that's when you go to town. And the only thing, and then we'll get started. And the only thing I wanted to say is when we get towards the end and we're finishing up, that's the time where we always go, so Dan, you tell us, is there anything you're working on, something you want to plug to the listeners out there?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay.
And this is not live or anything. So if you start out and stumble, you can restart, and we're trying to.
Okay.
And Matt,
if there's anything you don't want in this thing, we're more than happy to cut it out. We don't care.
I'm sure you guys will probably have things you want to cut out. Just because I tend to, I'm very
what ramble?
We'll cut this part out.
Yeah, we could use that word. If you want to use that word, you want to be cruel, yeah, you can ramble. That's another use. You want it to be really harsh, sure.
Yeah. You're our guest. We want to hear what you have to say, but this is a basic, who versus who. So
right. I'm so psyched, and I really want to impress you guys. So I'm waiting.
Oh.
Well, we'll see.
This is going to be an impress-o-thon.
Yeah.
We're all going to impress each other.
Yeah.
Minus Larry.
All right.
You know what? I just want to say for the record, I have no wampa in my news. No wampa.
Yeah, one of the other ones, he would whip out things like, okay, Wampa versus Jesus. And be like,
now, first of all, you're talking about
who would win in that battle, though?
Well, Jesus is a benevolent person. He wouldn't want to hurt the Wampa.
He'd come back and then kick his ass.
And Dan, he gives a stupid example. It's like, oh, Jesus.
No, he did like Wampa versus us. He's always doing these things that are like, it's like a Wampa, like he'll do like a regular creature versus a supernatural being.
That happened one time.
No, more than one time.
And you've never let it go.
Yeah. So it'd be like, Moon Knight versus Galactus. Who's gonna win? Oh, I wonder who.
But there's no rules here. As long as you come up with a good argument for it, And remember, well, we'll get into it.
Let's start this thing and then we'll go right.
Yeah, okay. Like the one room, nobody can leave until
Let's do it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're both talking at the same time, so I'm sorry. Could you explain that to me again?
Nice. Oh,
I thought
I've missed you.
I thought we were going to try to listen to our like. There's Sean. Yeah. There's Matt.
No, of course.
Do our best.
This is the warm up.
This is the warm up, right? Once the show happens, we'll be nothing but professional.
Once the show starts, we'll be like, I am now done talking. All right? Would you like to talk?
I think I might want to plug my phone into a battery just in case.
Do whatever you need to do.
Realize that this. Oh, damn, I don't have a wrong one.
Yeah, you've got 150 choices, so this could go till morning.
Exactly. Yeah, I have 65, but I managed to wheedle them down quite a bit. So.
All right. Okay.
Well, you told me to. I had to.
Well, we just want the cream of the crop.
I had to murder my children. It was hard.
Well, if we're short 5 minutes, we'll yeah.
Well, sometimes
make up the time for the sponsor.
There and everyone goes, oh, and then you kind of move on. You know what I mean?
Right. We'll have we do like a lightning round
at the end.
Rattle off a bunch of these.
Yeah, we don't really fight it. It's like here, da da da.
How about this? Yeah. Oh, that's stupid. All right, how about that one?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
All right.
I love the original Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I had the date in front of me. What's the date of that?
79.
Okay. I'm going to start it again.
Do you need the month and the day?
I need the time. I need the exact time that it happened. Okay, here we go.
I still want to hear Michael Corleone versus.
Yeah, what was it going to be?
James, now we have to know. We have to know, James. You have to tell us what that was.
Well,
Michael,
who would you think?
I'm thinking. No, my first thought was from Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman. I don't know.
Vito.
Tony Montana.
Oh, okay.
Oh, do you think it was obvious?
No, I would have picked Carlito Brigante.
Well, but Tony Montana would have been a more formidable opponent.
Oh, well, of course.
True. Have you seen Carlito's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
He survives a pretty tense situation with no bullets. So, I mean, I don't know. I actually, that's a conversation I had not long ago where I prefer Carlito's way to Scarface. But that's just me.
You know, it's funny.
That's just me.
Go ahead, James.
No, I'm just such a big fan of Scarface and The Godfather, and I've always had trouble reconciling it. It's the same actor, because those characters are so opposed.
But James,
mm-hmm.
Did you run out of genre movies? Like what? Where is it going to end now? Like Sam from Cheers
versus
Sam the Butcher. Like I don't.
versus Kirstie Alley.
The Hawaiian Punch guy is not exactly sci-fi or horror.
Oh,
It's
but it
genre,
totally
it's
fits.
animated.
It's a fantasy.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a real living picture of Kool-Aid.
There isn't?
I'm sorry, Sean. We were going to tell you.
I didn't want to bring up the Gaios because I'm like, I did Hedera, now I'm going to do another,
Go watch the movie.
There's no other kaiju
You've seen every single fucking Japanese thing ever.
in the universe. Okay, well, the next one, you'll get that one. Michael Corleone versus
Michael Corleone, which is Curly from the Three Stooges.
Michael Corleone.
Okay, just
versus.
Really, so James, who would win out of that? Who do you think would win out of that? Michael and Scarface.
Who do you think would win?
Well, I think it would be Scarface, hands down.
Well, that's what makes it interesting, because Scarface has this feral kind of energy.
Mm-hmm.
Michael's got the intensity and the brains.
I think Michael would have had him killed before he ever got to the room.
Exactly.
That's true.
And that's the conversation.
Now, Dan.
Yeah.
I got to warn you.
Yeah.
Since you've been on Monster Party, your life is going to change drastically.
Yes. Be prepared.
I don't know if you remember the rise of the monkeys, but it's going to be very similar.
You'll get used to the groupies after a while.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a little nice change up,
All right.
Cool.
So that's cool. I appreciate it.
Cool.
All right. I like your Hawaiian Punch thing.
Well, I was thinking it could be like, how about a nice Hawaiian Punch? And then you go, oh, yeah. Or something.
I was thinking the exact same thing, which is that if you said that, I like a nice Hawaiian Punch.
Yeah.
And then whoever can say, Kool-Aid. Oh, yeah. And then and then it's like you're being torn apart by Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid, no.
but his line is, oh, yeah. Kool-Aid. It's like, oh, yeah, Kool-Aid's here, bringing you fun. And you could go, oh, Kool-Aid's here, bringing you fun. I'm going to tear you apart. And you could do
now it's a Russian novel. Like,
oh.
I think you have to say Kool-Aid.
Mostly what you're doing. What if you just said, oh, yeah, Kool-Aid's here.
Yeah. And then I scream in agony.
And then you're like, no, Kool-Aid, ah! And then we're out.
Okay. Am I going to be the Hawaiian Punch guy then?
You be the Hawaiian Punch guy. Can someone do
How about a nice Hawaiian Punch?
That's perfect. That's actually really good.
Okay.
How's your Kool-Aid, Larry?
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah, okay.
You guys nailed it.
So, and say Kool-Aid's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Kool-Aid.
You're writing this down. Okay.
O-E-O-H.
Y-E-A-H.
Hey, as long as it's phonetic, it's phonetic here,
Okay. What energy, Larry? Energy.
Yeah. All right.
And don't say Kool-Aids. Say Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
There's nothing cool about AIDS.
Don't say COVID-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
Can you do like, oh yeah, Kool-Aid's here, and then go make like a Kool-Aid like you're coming at somebody like
a roar or something.
Wait, run that by me again.
Like a scream,
like you're coming after someone.
So it's like, oh yeah, Kool-Aid's here.
That's it.
And I'll scream, yeah.
And then do it. All right. Beautiful. I love it.